recently, man. I haven't.
It happens, bro. It's all out sometimes. Sometimes you can't keep up.
Just too busy.
What's up, everybody? Boy Narcolepsy Boy 94, aka Malik, back here with our live podcast episode with the brothers. Been somebody said over a year. I think so. It's been a while. It's been some time.
Over a year, bro.
We managed to get everybody in here. We managed to get everybody in here. Somebody said over a year. So is that an echo? We managed to get everybody in here. Y'all hear that too?
That's you.
Yeah.
That is you.
Me turn off everybody's echo.
Sorry, that was my fault.
Okay. That's good to hear, though. The audience sounds crazy.
What kind of welcome back party is this?
I only had 6 volume. There we go. Oh, shit. You were doing just fine. Crazy. Okay, somebody just went on mute, so I don't know who it was.
Kyron.
Yeah, Kyron's got to fix this.
How do I sound?
Yeah, it's coming from you. You on mute? We can't hear when you're on mute. It's not you, Mark.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, it was bad. I gotta keep you on mute till you fix that. That's it, bad, bro.
We were talking for all this time, and all of a sudden now it's
I was like, what in the world?
That was
so lost. I was like, UFO.
How do I sound?
Wait,
You said what?
That sounds a little bit better.
Alright.
That's an echo.
Yeah, you got an echo.
reverb.
How I sound now?
Much better.
Much better.
Echo. Do I still hear it? Anybody still hear the echo?
Nah, not really.
No, not now.
Okay.
Where you going?
It was doing fine before we went live.
Yeah, I was so low.
Kyrie, you might have to turn your volume down just a little.
I did. I turned the mic volume down.
Okay, then it's just bugging there, I guess. I don't know. That thing was like, woof. That was god awful. All right, now let's restart. Let's rewind. It's your boy Narcolepsy Boy 94, aka Malik, back here again with the brothers. It's been a while. If you guys want to get everybody can introduce themselves, it's been some time since maybe you have some new people who follow me now who maybe aren't familiar with the old podcast we used to do years ago. But Kyron, you go ahead and introduce yourself, and then Sean, and then Mark, and then after Conrad, we'll get into the combos.
It's your boy Kyron Chase. Glad to finally be back with the 6-pack. Like we said, it's been a whole year since the 6 we have done something together. First time the year all since we've even been together. But I'm excited to get this started. And I apologize for my audio.
That was bad.
Yeah, you already know what it is. It's your man Sean Hubbard of Hubbard Wrestling Weekly. Really happy to be here. You know what I'm saying? We've all kind of been doing our thing over the past year. I think it all coincides with the pandemic, man. Since the pandemic has let up a little bit, we've all been back to work doing our thing. So, linking up has been a little bit more difficult. But it's a blessing to be back with you guys. And to all Malik's viewers, welcome to the show.
It's been a while since I've done this.
So my audio messing up again too, bro. God damn.
Ooh, you good?
Yeah, it's like choppy.
You're crackling.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm crackling?
Yeah.
Damn. I can't even do an intro.
It's been too long, Rambo.
Sound like you got Larry.
Wi-Fi just start going bad as soon as you go live, bro. This is bugging, man.
It's always
Fucking RoboCop Rambo over here.
So can you hear me right now?
It sounds like you're underwater.
it's starting.
Turn out your headphones, man. Turn out the headphones.
I definitely can hear you, brother.
It's bad.
Oh, man.
He's got those Wish headphones, bro. Baltimore's finest in the house here.
I tell you, got that Walmart Wi-Fi, bro.
He's got that great value shit.
Like
Try connect with your phone, bro.
Keep it going.
It's like buying shoes from the value.
Listen. All right, we'll come back to Rambo.
What's going on, guys? Mounty's Corner in the house. I think I know what the problem was, Malik. You know, you had all the tiles all fucked up. You know, it's supposed to be the boys on the bottom, and the boys. You know, the main event Mafia is supposed to be on the bottom, and you know, Rambo's supposed to be in the corner where Sean is. And I think just the whole universe is kind of like doesn't know what's going on, so you got to figure that out. Just saying. Yeah, fucking great to be back, guys. I mean, it's been like you said, a year. It's lots changed. This whole thing started literally when COVID hit the first time in 2020. We're coming up on 2 years and change, and we've done a lot of podcasts since. So hopefully the newer viewers, because Malik's averaging 7 billion subscribers every day. So hopefully some of them will like what they see, and we'll go from there. So welcome everybody, and good to see my brothers. Let's go.
All right. Oh, Mark's back, but he got an echo though. Right now.
How about now?
Yeah, boy. Welcome back.
Nothing like technical difficulties, bro.
It's the biceps are getting in the way for him. He's like, hey, can you hear me now? Can you hear me?
Oh man, it was a
That big
hard,
pop
long
man.
road. Is it my car?
Go ahead.
Oh, man, like I was before.
The Wi-Fi, bro. This ain't going too good, man. This ain't going too good, man.
Bro. Yo, but so let everybody know what's going on. Before the podcast started, I said, what's the over under on Rambo's audio or video cutting out or internet after like half an hour? And I pretty much nailed it. After like 23 minutes of us shooting this shit, he was like, and I'm out.
He's back. Go ahead, Mark.
Am I cutting off now?
No, you good.
Not as of right now, you're not.
What the hell?
Rambo, I'm ready to buy your internet service, man. I'm like, guys, can we all chip in for this poor guy? That doesn't make sense. He's got the Gucci Mane fucking chain around his neck, but what? Like Verizon Wireless not working? Like, what's going on here?
Let him go.
My
go ahead, Mark. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, bro, it's Rambo. Keep going.
You can't even do an intro.
He may not have time.
Man, you already know it's Cameron from Everything Pro Wrestling. These guys got me in tears. We were laughing before this, and now we're laughing doing this. Thank you for having me on the show. Shout out to everybody in the chat. Let's talk some wrestling.
And that's all the time we got tonight, guys. So thanks for coming. I gotta go to bed.
Mic check, everybody. All right, Rambo, we're gonna do a mic check.
Mic check.
Go ahead and do your intro, Rambo. Let's see how it works. Go ahead and do your intro. Do your intro.
I'm gonna speak very slowly.
It's not your speech. You just gotta pray it works out with your carrier, brother.
I would recommend talk faster. That way we could hopefully get it in.
All right, cool. What's going on? It's your boy Rambo, Mark Rambo, whatever it is you want to call me. Haven't posted a YouTube video in a while, but I actually just recently, literally just got some content that I'm making up now. So let that be the return of my channel. Yeah, it was a lot going on personally, so I had to take a step back. Last time I even put a video up was actually, I think, when I was with you, Malik, probably at Wrestlemania when we were watching. So it just feels good to be back at the safe spot, spot you can actually kind of, do you have your own direction. So
preach.
Well, seems like we're good now. Seems like we're good. All right. It only took us about 10 minutes, but it's okay.
Best intro ever.
Yes.
I might even have to cut that out. I'm gonna keep that in there. This is gonna stay right in there.
I think you got to keep it.
Natural.
You gotta fast forward, people. If you're gonna watch it later, you gotta fast forward to the first.
Yeah, you might want to fast forward through the first 10 minutes.
And then it'll be good. So, fellas, what's everybody been up to? How do you guys feel about the wrestling world right now? A lot going on. I think the last time we chatted, I don't even know if we chatted about wrestling last time we were on here. I think we did like a draft or something. So I don't know the last time we all collectively talked about what's going on currently and things that we like, things we don't like. So Mr. Everything Pro Wrestling. Start with you. What about what's your thoughts on what's happening right now? I mean, we had Money in the Bank Saturday. AEW had Forbidden Door the week before that. So
Yeah, WWE doing a great job setting expectations real low with storytelling, and then they try to deliver on the pay-per-view. I got to give it to them for that. I guess I wasn't really. I like Liv Morgan winning. I thought that was cool.
yeah, that was pretty
I
cool.
really couldn't be mad at it. She's worked hard over the years. She deserves it.
Do you trust them with their push though?
Nope.
Nope. Nope.
Neither.
The moment I hear Charlotte or Bailey's music, that's when my heart's gonna start going like, it's probably over.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my only fear. I've told people about it too, especially like the Liv Morgan fans. I don't mind her getting pushed. The only reason I was hesitant about it because I don't know if I trust WWE to give her a push. Like, it's one thing to win the championship, but like, how are you going to be pushed as the champion?
So you're saying it's going to be short-lived? Like what I did there?
I don't-
Come on
I don't
now,
know if
guys.
she-
Let's
I
go.
don't
You
know.
know I was going to do at least one dad joke here.
Yeah, we know. Let's get out the way early.
What about you, Mount? Do you trust the Liv Morgan push, or do you?
Look, I can't obviously say that I'm on the same level as everybody else from an excitement standpoint, but I don't really blame her for that. I just, what we've seen from her in the last how many years? I mean, look at how she started and look how she's evolved since. I mean, I do think that she's been a lot better in the last little while, especially. I'm always open to new talent in a way, new opportunities to see how these people are going to shine. I mean, obviously it comes down to booking, guys. You guys know all that. You can put the strap on somebody, and if you give them a shitty ass title reign, sometimes it's really not the talent's fault, and you wonder how they're going to excel elsewhere. I do think she has the work ethic. I think she's got the look. I think there's a lot of potential there, and hopefully, this could be somebody that could be in the mix. I mean, let's be honest. Before Bianca, who was really in the mix, having her there can add an extra dynamic and a credible opponent or champion for these other competitors that seem to always be sharing the stage and sharing the spotlight. Now that Sasha Banks is kind of up in the air, we don't know what the hell's going on with that, but this kind of opens the door for her and to see what she's all about. So I'm definitely open to it. I hope it goes well. Like that's all I got to say. I just really, really hope it goes well, and I hope it's not one of those dangled carrots where that Zack Ryder moment in a sense. You can't really compare the two, but you guys know what I'm talking about. I just hope that it's one of those reigns that is somewhat memorable, and she does a great job representing the women. I'm down.
Rambo, what about you, man?
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird because like I don't really know how to feel. I'm happy for Liv Morgan, but at the same time, like what everyone else is saying, it's that I don't know if they'll give or put Liv. And yeah, I like Liv Morgan. I don't know if they're gonna put her in the right direction for her to actually be that champion. I feel like it's good, like you said, Monty, to see a fresh face because Lord knows if it was Charlotte, I feel like no one's gonna. I mean, people already don't care about the women division. Let's just be real. And I hate to say that because there was at one point, in my honest opinion, once upon a time when the women's division was carrying WWE entirely. So for them to do that,
What
yeah,
changed?
NXT was. That's what I'm saying. Like that's why I'm saying
What happened?
I keep going back to the same people. It's competitive. The same people
I
keep
love that
going.
it's Liv, but I just don't trust them. I don't trust it. I can't.
Do you think there's enough
wholeheartedly say
there, Rambo? Do you think there's enough there for her? You know what I mean by that? Like,
yeah. I don't know. It's just it's weird, bro. Because I actually really like Liv Morgan. I like the fact that they put her into position of Money in the Bank because that can go so many different ways where it's more flexibility. But it's once again, where are they going to put her now? Because I can see a lot with Austin Theory. In my personal opinion, if you're going to say Austin Theory, I like that. I like the way that went down personally for a whole lot of different reasons. But if you want to go to Liv Morgan, which is a struggling division, and they're not known for consistently doing the best things for that division, I can't really say much. It's just really only time will tell, and I hope they just do it the right way. Honestly.
John, what about you? You put your thoughts on it.
I thought he was asleep.
I thought he was too. You still there, brother? You still
Sean?
alive?
You muted.
You're muted.
Muted though.
Sorry about that. WWE's a disgrace.
Yeah. Yeah. No. Talk your shit, Sean. Talk your shit.
Go ahead, Sean.
WWE's a
Sure.
disgrace. They're gonna ruin they made it a correct decision with the Liv Morgan thing. I don't trust that they're gonna follow up in the best possible way. I believe they're gonna screw it up. I think the Austin Theory thing is disgusting, but we're talking about Liv Morgan right now, so we'll get back to that later. Liv Morgan is a talent. Liv Morgan, her best day to have been women's champion, her moment was day one, or around that time frame of day one going into WrestleMania season. I think that it should have been Bianca and Liv going into a little bit of a thing. Kyron, give me a second. I see you shaking your head off your shoulders. Give me a second. At the end of the day, when it comes to Bianca and Becky, I love how it went down, but Liv should have been somewhere involved in that. So her coming out of nowhere and winning Money in the Bank, I guess, is a surprise. We get a little bit of a shock factor. But do I trust that WWE is going to do right by Liv Morgan moving forward? Absolutely not. Just like Conrad was saying, as soon as Charlotte comes back, as soon as Bayley makes an appearance. By the way, I wouldn't be mad at the Bayley thing, but as soon as Charlotte comes back, Liv Morgan will be an afterthought. I actually predict she'll lose the title back at SummerSlam.
I'm about to say,
So,
you're talking about Charlotte. Y'all talking about Charlotte. I don't even know if she'll be Ronda again.
But Sean is right. Like, there is something to be said about the way you win these kind of matches, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And we've seen like the way that like Jack Swagger won, and like I don't know, Carmella, and there's a few others that I can't think of right now, but there's not as much impact there, I guess. And like Sean said, like that kind of like sneaky sort of way to win from a face wrestler standpoint is a little strange, and it kind of worries me too. So I kind of agree with what you just said there, Sean. Like that could just like depict the whole thing, and it can pave that way, and we wouldn't be surprised, right?
What about
I
you,
feel
Kyron?
you.
Put your thoughts on there.
Okay. Well, since everyone else kind of went first, I got a lot to respond to do. First off, Mark, I'm glad you finally saw the light, because me being the tail of Mr. Negative over the years, and you used to always try to get the benefit of the doubt. You finally saw the light. I'm happy about it. Now, Sean, I want to respond with you when I was shaking my head. You said how Liv should have won it day one. I disagree with that, because I think Liv definitely should have got a bigger spotlight at WrestleMania and put in the tag team title match. That, let's be honest, no one really cared about, because there were no real teams. I said it back then, and I'll say it again. The story was there for Bianca and Becky from SummerSlam. You couldn't have done anything else. And what happened? We got an incredible match at WrestleMania that told the story that it needed to tell. I don't think you would have gotten Bianca's redemption right if Liv was in there, because it should have just been Bianca and Becky. I don't think Liv.
I'm gonna let you finish. That's not what I said at all.
Well, and I feel like after how Bianca lost the title to SummerSlam, only she should have taken the title from Becky. That's how I feel like that's how you get redemption. If Liv wins the title at day one, or where's Bianca's redemption come from? She doesn't beat Becky, unless it's a triple threat and she pins Becky. But even then, that still feels kind of hollow, because the whole storyline was, well, Becky's been champion outside of her pregnancy, has always been champion for the last 2-3 years. So someone had to dethrone her, and I think Bianca was the person that should have done it. Now, how do I feel Liv cash in? First off, I was happy for her. I remember, I'm watching Money in the Bank, rooting for her, and my brother looked at me like, you're not rooting for Becky or Asuka? No, I said, no, I'm rooting for Liv, because one, I want something different, and two, she really deserves it. So I was happy for her when she won. When she cashed in, I was a little nervous when she cashed in, when she got put in the ankle lock, or are they really going to do this? But I was happy as hell for her that she won. Now, I am scared of how they're going to book her reign, especially at SummerSlam. Even though it's not on the same level, because Nikki isn't over her. We saw what happened last year. Nikki won the title tonight after Money in the Bank when she cashed in and dropped it right back at SummerSlam. So, what are they going to do for SummerSlam? Are they going to do Liv versus Ronda straight up? Are they going to add Charlotte to it? Which I think
from what I've heard, it's supposed to be Ronda versus Liv 1-on-1.
I don't think they're going to go fully through with Liv, especially if they want to keep Ronda, and I don't like when they do it as a babyface. She faces Liv Morgan at SummerSlam, especially Malik, you and I are going to be there. There's going to be a crowd that's going to be 1% against Ronda. So I don't think if you want to keep Ronda babyface, I wouldn't do that because there's going to be a lot of fans and not many of them are going to be rooting for Ronda. Now, like, if we just talk like, we're not talking about wrestling show, we're just talking about Liv. Once again, I'm happy for her because she's a likable personality. She's busted ass to get better. So I'm really happy for her. But the question is, how are they going to book her reign? And you guys know I don't trust WWE with a damn thing. So we got to see what they're going to do. I hope for the always, as I say, WWE, hope for the best, expect the worst.
Yeah, that's usually how it goes. Sean, do you want to touch something Kyron said? Or is it?
Yeah, I didn't say that Bianca and Becky should have not main evented or did what they did at WrestleMania. That's not what I said at all. What I said is that her time was around that time, meaning that Liv Morgan should have been in the championship picture. I think if we all look back and think about the last 6 to 8 months, Liv was at her hottest around day one. Liv had her most momentum around day one. I didn't say that she should have won the title. I said that Liv had her biggest peak of momentum at that time. And at that time, it was believable that she had an opportunity to potentially be in a championship picture. Do I feel like it should have played out any other way where Bianca got her redemption? No. I was a big fan of that happening. So I didn't want what I said to be misrepresented. I didn't say Liv should have won the championship. I said that Liv at that time was at her highest. And honestly, I feel like it's very much to her detriment in July of 2022, looking back on how hot she was in January of 2022, to duplicate that level of popularity. Will she be able to duplicate it? Does Money in the Bank have that effect on some people? It does on some, it doesn't on others.
Only time will tell. I mean, I'm not really sure if she'll get past SummerSlam as a champ, especially like I said.
I don't either. I think Ronda's going to win it right back.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't even. Honestly, I'd be totally shocked if she beat Ronda. I mean,
Yeah, she's gonna get fed. All right, she's gonna get fed to her. It's done.
It's one of those. It's one of those. You know, I said when I was talking to some of my other bros in a group chat, I said Money in the Bank usually kind of goes the same way, and I said one person who wins Money in the Bank will be something for the fans, like a fan favorite that people like, and the other one will be something that WWE wants to win. It'll be one or the other. You know what I'm saying? So. A lot of people were picking, you know, like Seth Rollins and, you know, a lot of other people. But I was like, I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're probably going to go with the women. Maybe somebody wins for the women that, the fans kind of like more, which is Liv. And then, you know, the men will be somebody that WWE wants to win, that they somebody that they want to use. And that's what we kind of saw. I mean, it doesn't always play out that way, but that's kind of what my spidey sense, I guess we would say, was telling me something like that was going to happen. You know what I mean? And we saw it turn out that way. So I hope that Liv gets a big push. My only issue is that I didn't know. I always felt like the WWE never saw her the way her fans do, type thing. So I don't know if she will get that big push. But Comrade, you got something to touch on?
One more thing. I wanted to go back to what Mountie had said. Whose fault is this? And I see some people in the chat were writing like, oh, they overuse the same people. I don't think that's what's wrong with the women's division.
You released everybody.
No. I think it's the people in management. It's funny when John Laurinaitis came back, how all of a sudden the matches went back to being 2-minute matches, and they're looking for eye candy. And look at what they're promoting in NXT. There's a vibe to this management team. And me and Sean talked about it when they were with the Sasha Banks and Naomi. More stuff starting to come to light now, and it's starting to make sense. Why don't people respect John Laurinaitis? They know what they've been doing. They know what they're being investigated for. No one's going to have respect for those people, no matter what. I don't care what job, what industry you work in. If you know someone's doing wrong and they're being protected, you're not going to have respect for them. And if they're trying to cut your time, cut your minutes, and make you look bad so other people can get elevated, nah, people ain't going for that. And Sasha Banks, Charlotte, Naomi, everyone who's been around for the last 5 to 10 years, they know exactly what they're worth, and they're not going to let you do that to them.
Well, let's be honest, no one really likes John Laurinaitis. I mean, one of Jim Cornette's greatest quotes when he said his mother, Johnny H's mother slapped the store that delivered him. So no one really likes Johnny H to begin with. But yeah, like everyone, like you said, change the management. Now, Conrad brought up NXT. Malik knows I do not watch NXT, and it's out of pure pettiness and spite. And I admit that. You take away the one thing I love about the company, I'm not gonna watch whatever you produce, and I admit it's petty. So I don't know what they're doing with NXT because I don't care. So once again, Conrad, I see what you're trying to say because like no one likes Johnny Ace. But my question is this: with Sasha and Naomi pretty much walking out, Bailey hasn't come back yet. Rhea getting hurt, that kind of threw it off because I was looking forward to Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair because no one on planet Earth thought Carmella was winning Saturday. What are your plans for SummerSlam? Like, if Rhea isn't able to compete, who are you going to have face Bianca? You can't do Becky and Asuka again, and there's no one else on the Raw roster who really can viably face Bianca. And on SmackDown, once again, if Bailey or Charlotte doesn't come back, Liv and Ronnie's your best bet. But after that, you had a feud between Ronda and Natalya, which I could not give any less of a shit about because I don't care about neither character. So it was hard for me to get invested. And I think like watching that match live is like, this isn't a bad match, but it's like I don't care. So my question is, what are your plans? SummerSlam, we don't have a long time for SummerSlam. SummerSlam is about 2-3 weeks. What are your plans?
I mean, Ronda and Liv would definitely be the plan for sure. I mean, I don't see anything else besides that. As far as Bianca, I mean, if it ain't going to be Rio, which I think it will be, but it all depends on her injury and whatever is going on with that situation. I think
Did they ever say what's going on with her?
Yeah, they said it was like her teeth or something like that, like her dental, because she has like braces and stuff. So I guess she got the Cesaro situation. Like something happened to her teeth or something like that. I don't know. I know there was stuff going out there about like a brain injury, but like she tweeted something about it, so I said that wasn't true. So I mean, I think it's more of like her dental teeth. So I don't know how advanced it is or how long it'll be. But hopefully we can get that match SummerSlam because I was intrigued by that. I was intrigued to see how they would do it with Rhea being in Judgment Day, and now like Bianca's got having a good championship run. So I was like, I don't know how they're gonna do this. You know what I mean? So I'm interested to see what they do. But
have you guys realized? And Bianca said, and Stone Ross brought this up on Fightful. He and Denise brought this up. Bianca said how every time she has like a big match, it's always like something bad happens. Like remember, she's supposed to face Bailey last year, Money in the Bank, but Bailey got hurt. She was supposed to face Sasha at SummerSlam last year. Sasha got hurt, and she's supposed to face Rhea Money in the Bank this year, but Rhea got hurt. It's like almost every time Bianca's supposed to defend her title in a big match, her opponent gets hurt.
Yeah. So there's a lot of injuries going on right now in wrestling too.
That's happened before. I'm trying to remember with who, but it was a male wrestler, I think.
There's so many injuries going on in wrestling though, like not even just WWE, but like just tons.
Somebody got injured after they faced somebody, and I'm just trying to remember who the hell it was.
Cody Rhodes,
you guys know what I'm talking about?
It was probably like that SmackDown era of like Undertaker got hurt, Batista got hurt. I'm trying to remember what year that was. Was it 07? Cena got hurt. 07. Yeah, like everybody went down.
And Edge got hurt, so some dumbass we put the world title on Great Khali, even though Batista was right there.
Yeah, there were a lot of people. I mean, it was a little different time though. They still had kind of the star power though. There were a lot of stars there. They could fill in roles, now. But there were a lot of people hurt during that time. Though. I do remember that. But WWE's kind of like that now too. I mean, you got Randy Orton now. Bailey's probably gonna come back soon, but she still hasn't been back from her injury. Rhea Ripley's out right now. I mean, there's a lot of Cody Rhodes. There's a lot of injuries going on right now in wrestling. It's kind of like it's like that weird time frame. Like you keep seeing injury after injury. Like somebody's injured again, or like this person is out. You know what I mean? It's like it's a weird time, like a bad cycle going on. But
well, I'm gonna say my thoughts on Roman Reigns when we talk about the world title picture because I got a lot to talk about that too.
Well, we can touch on Theory winning Money in the Bank. We talked about Liv, so it's only right we talk about Theory because people, somebody asked, can't remember who it was, somebody asked in the chat about Theory winning Money in the Bank. Conrad, we'll start with you. We talked about Theory winning Money in the Bank, the potential, maybe he cashes in. Do you think he'll hold it for a long time or?
I have mixed feelings on Austin Theory winning. Number one, like I get that he's Mr. McMahon's like protege and he's supposed to win and everything else. But I understand some people's outrage with this dude winning. Like, I'm going back to that whole speaking out movement and what happened and the Snapchats and all that stuff. I get why some people are very upset about it. Like, that name was never really cleared and nothing was ever really said and what happened with it. Right. And it doesn't look good right now when you look at Vince and it's like, right here, man, pay attention to it. But for me, Theory, it's too much too quick. Sometimes when that happens, it starts to feel like you're just doing a lot for one person and you're not thinking about the rest of your roster. And that's always been the WWE game. Closed mouth, don't get fed. You're not going to get anything. We'll see what they do. I mean, they say they like the dude a lot. Let's see what they do with it. But I just hope it doesn't backfire in their face to where they think they're making the next megastar and they're actually sabotaging the kid.
Well,
Yeah.
we've seen it before, right? We've seen it with Curtis Axel. We've seen it with Drew McIntyre, Chosen One. Like, to me, this just is, it's a recycled storyline gimmick, you know? And we already know how this kind of plays out. You know, like you said, too much too soon. Nothing wrong with the push,
Yeah,
but when the guys like X-Pac heat, it's kind of tricky, you know? I don't know. Like, I understand, again, going back to what I was saying before, I'm cool with seeing what, you know, the next wave can do. I mean, guys, we've talked about this before. We've talked about how the veterans come in and, you know, just bury new talent. You know, we've seen it with Goldberg and this guy and that guy, and it's like, we don't like it from that standpoint because, you know, you're supposed to be elevating new stars because these guys aren't going to be around forever to carry this flame. And we're getting it now. Is it going into the direction or the way that we would, you know, book it? Probably not. Is there other people that could have been chosen or has the hotter hand? Yes. And that's nothing new too. We've seen guys like Miz and other guys as well just never really. Braun Strowman, you could even make an argument for at some point in SummerSlam, right? That triple threat match. That was your time to strike. They didn't do it. So on one hand, I'm like, okay, it's cool, it's a new star, but is it the right new star or is it the right person at this point? And that's sometimes where I feel WWE kind of misses that boat because, as you guys know, the world's constantly evolving, changing. Things are cool one minute, they're not the next. It's not as easy to sort of pick up a ball and run with it as it once was from back in the day, where they can kind of revisit something 3, 4, 5 months later and it'll still be a hot commodity. Now, you know, that fire burns out, and that's where I'm kind of concerned. I'm not concerned with Theory getting an opportunity. I'm more concerned is like maybe it should have been a different time for Theory to have that opportunity, and if you do it now, maybe it won't have the same impact as it could have. Even if he was still heel, same character, whatever, maybe it would have had a little bit more impact, you know, from a story point standpoint, and all these other angles. You could do it that way later on in life and it'd be fine. But maybe it wasn't the right time to do it. But look, I'm kind of curious.
Only
You
time
know,
was-
I was, you know, I was a Drew McIntyre fan at the Chosen One. I was one of the very few. But I'm the first one to admit that shit was quick, and he wasn't the right guy at that time. He even admitted it, you know. So it's
Drew said he wasn't ready back then.
bro, I was even down with Curtis Axel. Like, I swear to God, man, like I'm man enough to admit I was down, and I was hoping that it was gonna go somewhere, and like everybody else was wrong, and
You never
I was
really,
wrong.
you never really know with the early experiments. I mean, you look at the
No.
Kurt Angle or Brock Lesnar. I mean, they got big pushes right off the bat, but those were the right guys at the right time. I guess, you know, they end up having successful careers. Randy Orton got a big push at the right time. You know, he wasn't ready for that world title push, but the company was still invested into him even at that young age. You know, they still saw the potential in him, and his career turned out to be great too. But then you get talking about somebody like Curtis Axel, who I was one of you too. I thought he was gonna be like, oh, he's gonna be somebody great for the future, and
Me too, man.
He wasn't even
Me too.
relevant. He wasn't even relevant 6 months later. You know what I mean? So you
No.
just never really know. Drew McIntyre, it took some years. You know, the Chosen One thing didn't last long, but then he comes back and he's bigger and he's, you know, reinvented himself. So now people are like, okay, now we see the potential that maybe they saw then. I mean, even someone like the Miz, you know, like when Miz won Money in the Bank, I for sure thought he was going to be the first person to cash in and not win. I was like, I don't see it. Like, he's not going to be the champion. Like,
True.
what do
True.
they see? Like, I don't see it. But then you look at years later, you know, now you're like, okay, well, now I see what the company saw. I mean, he has something, you know, to offer. You know what I mean? So you just never really know. With Theory, I honestly, I like it. I don't dislike it. I mean, the company they kind of made it, or at least on TV, Vince kind of made it clear he likes something. He's been doing stuff for them on TV for since maybe Survivor Series, I think, maybe before that, somewhere around that time frame. And they've been doing little things here on TV here and there, and you kind of didn't know where it was going at one point. It was kind of iffy, and then he shined in the Royal Rumble for a little bit, and then he did his thing in the Elimination Chamber, and he was last man standing with Brock, and then he had a big match at WrestleMania. So it's kind of like they kind of just planting seeds with him, I guess, a little bit. But my thing is, some people are saying he's not ready, doesn't have the potential. You're not really going to know until it happens. I mean, we don't know how long he's going to hold the Money in the Bank. I know a lot of people are saying, like, too, well, he can't beat Brock or Roman. But, like, who says they'll be the champion when he catches in, though? We don't know. Like, he gets a whole year to hold that briefcase and continue to develop. So, Roman may not even be the champion, by the time he catches in. So, it all just depends. I mean, I'm kind of like you, Mountie. I'm kind of like, I like it, but, I want to see where it could go because, like you said, we're not in a different time. Like, when they pushed Kurt Angle back in 2000, that was 2000 is a completely different era and world than it is nowadays. 2022, you know what I mean? So it's things are a lot different, and people kind of, I feel like, don't have a lot of patience with a lot of certain things too when it comes to long-term storytelling and it comes to developing people because, and I think what also hurts too is that some people, when they talk about they want new talent, it's certain talent that they're talking about. You know what I mean? Like WWE pushes talent that they don't want to get pushed. You know what I mean? Like some people may have wanted Riddle to win because they like Riddle, but they chose Theory over Riddle. So like, okay, we want a new talent, but we didn't want that guy. We wanted that guy over there. But WWE's like, no, we like this guy. You could look at Roman Reigns, for example. When Shield split up, people were talking about Ambrose, people were talking about Rollins, but I always said it was going to be Roman Reigns. Like Roman Reigns is going to be next in line whenever it's done. Those guys will be stars, but they won't be the face top guy at the company. That'll be Roman's spot, and you kind of saw it the year after they split up. He's in the main event of WrestleMania, and he's doing all this other stuff too. So they experiment with the guys they want to experiment with. Sorry, and they're obviously invested into Riddle. They see the potential there. I'm not going to say that he's going to fail or succeed. I don't really know. It really just depends, because they may like him now, but WWE could also change a lot of things too. They like him now, but 4 months from now they may change their mind. Like, we may not be have chosen the right type of person. You know what I mean? So, but I'm interested to see what happens though. I mean, I trust. I'll say this: I trust their booking with Theory more than Liv Morgan. I'll say that. So,
Yeah, well, no doubt, but there's a way different,
but I'm talking
level
about the popularity. Like people like Liv Morgan right now more than Theory, but Theory is just more of a WWE type of guy that they look at as somebody that they want. So,
And
Marco,
that's what it all comes with management. That's exactly what Conrad said. It's all management at that point.
right?
Because why can't you have a good, I guess, long-term booking for Liv Morgan, but you can with Austin Theory? Realistically, let's just be real. Outside, I mean, literally, they both do the same thing. The only difference is one is a man and one is a lady. Like, that's literally it. And unfortunately, you have to come into terms that they only, or it comes off as if they only push certain people. I mean, we all knew that, but like this is a prime example of it because, like I said, if I'm gonna chime in with the Austin Theory thing, I didn't think it was a bad idea that he won. I think it was horrible how it happened. I didn't like how it happened, but I like the fact that it is a fresh face. But once again, what are you gonna do? You have Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar going at it at SummerSlam. Roman Reigns we already heard about him working a lighter schedule. I don't know how true that is, but like, where does this all tie in? Because at some point, we all know Brock is going to get that title back. We know. I personally think it's going to happen sooner than later because the moment I found out about Roman working a lighter schedule, I said, okay, well, I wonder who's going to get it. Next thing you know, Brock Lesnar comes out and he's back to being Brock. And obviously, I hate to say it, but historically speaking, that's usually what has happened. Brock comes out of nowhere, and ends up holding the title, holding it for however long WWE needs him to hold it. And then next thing you know, I hate to say it, Brock is stale. It's weird. It's really weird as to what they're going to do with it. I don't know. I'm kind of nervous, honestly, because I like Austin Theory. But once you said, Mountie, the climate of everything is, or I'm sure you said it, Mountie. I can't remember who said it.
Yeah,
But
I think so.
yeah, the climate in which we're living in, it's tricky. You already got so many allegations towards the company, and then you have a guy like Austin Theory. Theory is he's a great wrestler, but it's just, I don't think it was the right timing. You already got Vince McMahon dealing with what he's dealing with. Have him having to step down, and then next thing you know, before that, Austin Theory had the allegation issue. So they're both kind of dealing with the same thing. One just caught it earlier than the other, and now you're kind of coinciding them all together on a televised event. Like it's so much that's going on and so much that's weird to it.
Do you think that was on purpose, though? Think about it.
Of course. Come on now.
Exactly,
honestly,
but that's what I mean.
I'm
He's
not gonna
trying to
hold you.
bring
I
that
think it is.
realism.
Bro, Vince McMahon is the king of pettiness, bro. He does not care.
Absolutely.
This dude literally comes out. If you notice, he's been coming out on TV every week since the allegations come out, and he comes out and says like 2 things and then leaves. You know what I mean? So it's like people are like, "Oh, Vince is coming back. He's on TV again." He's like, "Hey, everybody, here comes John Cena," and then he walks out. He walks away. People are like, "What the fuck?" Like so weird. Like what is he doing? You know what I mean? So Vince is the king of pettiness. I truly, honestly, I don't think he does not care. Like he doesn't care. Like he's still.
I feel like he's using his own stunt, to try to. Okay, he's like, well, this is gonna suck. I might as well try to maximize some sort of money out of it from a televised point of view.
Sean, go ahead, man. Let you talk to me.
I've been waiting there. This. Go ahead, Sean. I've been waiting for this.
I just think it's high time that we come to the realization WWE doesn't give a damn what we want.
Yeah.
That's the bottom line. But we come to that realization that they're making money hand over fist. They had the best fiscal year in the history of the company. That's all they care about. And they don't care about what we want. Austin Theory, especially, I have to piggyback off of Rambo. I wasn't happy about him winning, period. But the fact that he got added late into the match last minute made it worse. You're taking a kid who has a lot of potential. Honestly, I'll speak to you from a strictly fan perspective. Theory was starting to grow on me. I never liked him. And he was starting to grow on me. This heel run that he was having with the United States Championship, I was kind of thrown off that Lashley beat him. Didn't bother me because I thought that maybe it would be just a little blip on the radar and he would win it back, and that still might happen. But the bottom line is this U.S. title run he was having was starting to grow on me. He was starting to get to a point where, like, you know what, this kid, all right, I'm starting to see what everybody's talking about with this kid. Let's keep on course. I don't understand what it is with Vince or Pritchard or Johnny whatever Laurinaitis. I don't understand exactly what the hang up is or what they miss here in translation, but when something's working, why do you alter the course? People were starting to look at Theory as somebody who could be a potential world champion. We all know we were being force-fed him. We all know that he was being stuffed down our throats. None of us liked it. But you know what? 3-4 months in, you're starting to say to yourself, you know what? I can see this kid has potential. This kid has a little bit of what a world champion is made of. And then you add him as a last-minute entrant into the Money in the Bank contract, and you have him leapfrog people like, and I'm not just talking about obvious people like Seth Rollins and Riddle. I'm talking about people that are less obvious, like Sami Zayn has been having a good year. Madcap Moss is starting to emerge as somebody who means something. I don't, but all of a sudden he leapfrogs these guys and he shows up the next night on Raw as Mr. Money in the Bank. It's ridiculous. WWE doesn't give a damn about what we want. WWE doesn't give a damn about what we think. That's the bottom line. And at the end of the day, I would love to say I'm going to boycott and not watch. I'm a fan, and now I take it even more seriously because I do the podcast and we all do this stuff more so as a secondary job now. But it's like, so we're going to keep watching, but it's like, how can you be satisfied as a wrestling purist by watching what you're watching right now? And how can you be confident when you translate, like Rambo was saying, when you translate what they're doing with Theory over to Liv Morgan? How can you be possibly confident that they're going to handle this Liv Morgan situation correctly? Because let me tell you something. The only reason Roman Reigns overcame him being stuffed down our throats the way Austin Theory is being stuffed down our throats now is for 2 reasons. One reason is going to sound real insensitive, and one reason is going to sound very accurate, but I believe both are accurate. Number one, and I don't make light of it whatsoever, Roman Reigns was the most hated, and not in a good way, the most hated professional wrestler in the world when he made his announcement about having cancer. And I'm going on record. I'm so happy that he's healthy and well. But that's the only reason he overcame that. And then also, Roman Reigns is really good. So but the bottom line is Roman Reigns had to overcome years of not being where he should be from a fan popularity standpoint because WWE wouldn't make this situation go in a natural progression. He had to win the 2015 Royal Rumble when everybody in the world knew Daniel Bryan should have won. He had to beat Triple H in the main event of WrestleMania 32. He had to beat The Undertaker at WrestleMania 33. It's like you just keep force-feeding him and force-feeding him and force-feeding him. And it goes right back to present day. Austin Theory, a guy with a lot of potential. He has youth on his side. And WWE is looking at this kid that's 24 years old and has his whole, God willing, his whole career ahead of him and saying, here, take him right now, take him right now, take him right now, instead of bringing him along naturally. It makes no sense, and it's sickening.
Mm-hmm. And it's crazy. It's crazy because I just want to say one thing, and y'all were talking about Roman Reigns. Sean, I stand by this. I stand by this when I say this. We were talking about how Roman Reigns is often being force-fed to us. If, say hypothetically, right, Roman Reigns did beat Undertaker in 33. Now, if they made him a heel right there, I guarantee you we would have never had that conversation about Roman Reigns being the most hated.
That was always the biggest thing for me, too, is like, they just let Roman just be Roman. It would have been fine from the beginning, you know, but they're trying too hard to make it something that...
Bro, when I left that arena, I stand by it. When I was at 33 and I left that arena, the hatred that people had for Roman Reigns, I saw grown men cry. I seen someone light a trash can on fire because they were mad the fact that Undertaker left all his stuff in that ring. I personally seen the hatred that people had for Roman. And then to see what they did Monday and what he said that Monday after that Mania, if they kept him ill or if they even teased it, even brought it up a little later and then did what he's doing now, I can promise you there would have never been a conversation.
That night after WrestleMania was one of the biggest heel heat moments I think I've ever seen in my life. Like that thing was that thing was so it was so crazy, but it was so beautiful at the same time. Because it was perfect for the heel turn. Like Roman said what he said. He literally said, "This is my yard now." Dropped the mic. Everybody was pissed, and he walked away. She was like, "Oh shit, Roman Reigns is the man." Like, okay, all they had to do was just keep that little momentum going. They could just turn him heel. I mean, think about if Roman. I'm not saying he'd been the tribal chief back then, but if they did that heel turn back then, think about all the other potential that he could have accomplished from then until now.
I agree with what you guys are saying, but at the same time, you got to think about it like this: if he had turned heel right then and there, it probably would have worked. I'm not going to deny that. But it still wouldn't have been organic. That's the problem. It wouldn't have been organic. The reason why, hear me out. The reason why Roman Reigns was hated in 2017 is not because Roman Reigns was a good heel in 2017. Roman Reigns was hated in 2017 because the fans, educated fans like the six of us and many others, knew that Roman Reigns did not deserve everything he had in that particular moment. It had nothing to do, him coming out and saying, "It's my yard now." That didn't make the fans hate him. That just was the cherry on the sundae. They hated him. I don't know about it. I hated him because Roman Reigns did not earn it yet. And that's not Roman Reigns' fault. That's another thing I want you guys to understand. It wasn't Roman Reigns' fault. It's not Austin Theory's fault. It's not. It's management's fault, which was Conrad said. It's management's fault. Roman Reigns coming out and saying, "This is my yard now," had nothing. That was just the cherry on the sundae. Roman Reigns was being booed from the top. The Roman Reigns had his hand raised by The Rock at the Royal Rumble, and they were booing him out of the building.
Mm-hmm.
The fans, look, one thing about us wrestling fans, we are smart and we know what we like. I'm gonna take you guys old school and I'm gonna let you guys talk because I feel like I'm talking too much right now.
Nah, go ahead.
In 1989, Macho Man Randy Savage was undeniable. That even Hulk Hogan, even in his big, enormous ego, had to recognize, you know what? This guy needs to be the world champion. Now, did it help that Hogan was going off to do a movie? Probably. But at the end of the day, Macho Man was undeniable. Are you telling me that in 2017, Roman Reigns was undeniable? Are you telling me in 2022, Austin Theory is undeniable? We don't even know what Austin Theory is going to evolve into. No pun intended. Evolve. No pun intended.
But you could make the same argument for guys like Brock Lesnar and Kurt Angle, though. Nobody knew what they were going to evolve.
Time out.
When they got the push.
Can I piggyback off Sean?
Go ahead.
The problem is that they stopped their formula that used to work, and it doesn't work anymore. It used to be at any given time. Let's go all the way back to the 80s. There's two guys. There is the company guy, and there's the fan favorite guy.
You always say this.
It's so true. Hulk Hogan was the company guy. We're going to make money with him. We know what we want to do. Macho Man's the people guy. You know why? We'll give him the belt for a year. People will shut up about it, give him a little bit of a reign, and then, drop that leg drop, brother. You're going to get paid. Trust me. It'll be good. Bret Hart and Shawn Michaels. They didn't want Bret to ever get that belt back. I'm going to be honest. And I'm a Shawn Michaels guy, but let's be real. Bret was the man of the people. Shawn is the company guy. Shawn will always do what Vince says. He'll argue with him. He'll be the biggest pain in the world to you, but he's always going to do what's right for him and his friends and Vince. Hence the screw job and all that stuff that happened. And even with Cena and Punk, it's the same thing. Punk was the man of the people. They gave Punk that year-long reign. That year-long title reign didn't mean jack diddly. He didn't main event anything. You beat him. You had Triple H beat him for no reason, and that's where people started getting hurt. Now we're at the point with Roman Reigns. Bro, I don't know who I can believe could beat him. Yeah. Who's gonna beat this dude? You have Cody. I look at Cody as a turncoat in a way. I'm not trying to be mean. Time out. I got good points on this. He was Mr. Rah, 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 pointing at signs that said Vince suck it, and it was all. Hopefully I can say that on YouTube. Vince suck it, and
sold out.
That was cool.
He sold out.
They were the people who started the WWE AEW against each other stuff, and then all of a sudden it was like, well, I could make $5 million if I go over there. Adrenaline in my soul. I don't hear no thank yous to Tony Khan, because Tony Khan is the reason why a lot of people know your name. New Japan, yeah. Kyron, he bet on himself, but he also bet on all the fans, and the fans took him with him. It looked like he used Kenny Omega and the Elite. He used them to get all the way back to making $5 million.
I'm glad.
And I'm not trying. And I'm not trying to be funny. But
no, there could be a bigger agenda there, Conrad. Like with him coming back to WWE, isn't there the smallest possibility that they could cross promote at some point? I know that WWE doesn't really want to do that, but hey man, nothing lasts forever. You know that. And
I
even with WWE, I don't know. I'm just saying. I mean, maybe there was a very, very long-term plan, and that was the first step of that plan. You shared something like today on that, didn't you?
In my group, I did. That Tony Khan said he'd be willing to do it, but will the WWE? No. My point to it all is going back to Cody, they have to treat Cody right now. You know why? Because you want MJF. MJF's going to call Cody and say, what's up? Cody knows when everyone's contract's up. I know he says, I would never steal anybody from Tony Khan. He's trying to stay face in case he needs to go back there if this goes south. Cody knows when people's contracts end, bro. They're going to be calling him saying, how is it there? Bruce and them are going to be sitting right there next to him. Yeah, how is it, Cody? Yeah, you guys should come over. It's great. It's wonderful. They're going to treat you great. Sure, you'll get Cody. You'll get MJF. Maybe you'll steal someone from the women's division. But then tell me when Max Caster and all them are the ones in charge, when they're the ones coming over. Tell me how they're treated then. That's the thing to pay attention to.
I think that's very good points. And I was surprised to see Cody come back. I was like, what? Like, dude, like you pioneered this whole thing, man. And it's like, and it's not doing bad. In fact, it's doing great. And, I might get a lot of heat for saying this, but I think that MJF, one of the worst things he could do is go to WWE for his career. I really, really believe that he is not a good fit. He can't be himself in WWE. The shit that he just did as pipe bomb, that would never happen. Even if it was watered down, it wouldn't have the same effect. MJF is who he is, and the way he's risen to this stardom, it's amazing. And it's because of his natural charisma and the fact that he's probably the only one in the game that actually stays in character like Undertaker did for how many of decades.
Yeah.
I love that he does that. And the fact of the matter is, he won't be able to be that guy anymore. He will never stay in character fully anymore because he's going to have to do these meet and greets and this and that and the other thing. He's not going to do it. He's going to be a completely different MJF, and we're going to be like, man, we missed the old one. I know the money talks, and I get it, and it's a boyhood dream to be in the WWE. I get it, man, but at the same time, he should really ride it out with AEW as long as he possibly can because he's going to reach his fullest potential at AEW. 100%.
I think what hurt him
Before
too,
Malik says something, I just want Malik to remember what I told you in that one comment about MJF. What did I say about top heels?
Yeah, I remember every time.
Okay. I remember that.
You said he's gonna be the top 10 of all time. I think you said, right?
I think
top 5. Yeah, okay, top 5. But still,
I think what also hurts him too, though, is that if he went to WWE, a lot of people would try to compare him to the Miz too much. And I think that would be kind of it'd be unfair. But people are already doing it right now. You know what I mean? People are already kind of like, well, he's like a rip-off version of the Miz, but like there's nothing alike. You know what I mean? Like Miz promos are great, but he's not able to say the stuff that MJF is able to say, like in WWE. Like just imagine if the Miz was in AEW. Like
yeah,
pretty good promos, but just imagine the shit he could say. Like,
oh man,
he was like alone. Like this.
You see what I'm saying, right?
State, but I'm not gonna. You never really know, man. It's a 50-50, bro. You don't really know how you're gonna do in WWE until you really go there. You can hear stories and you can hear people's perspectives, but you're not gonna know unless you step foot in there yourself and you see what happens. There have been many people who I thought went to WWE. I thought Samoa Joe was gonna have a fucking great career there, and we saw what happened to him. Then you look at guys like somebody like The Miz, who comes out of nowhere, and like The Miz has had a better WWE career than Samoa Joe. Like I can't even believe I'm saying that, but like it is what it is. Same with AJ Styles. If you'd have told me AJ Styles was gonna have that rookie year, I'd be like, bro, he's not. He would have never had that rookie year. I wouldn't have saw it, but you don't really know until you get there. There's some people that they like, some people they don't like, and you don't really know until it really happens. So
yeah, but they're different characters, Malik. I understand what you're saying, but like MJF is in the league.
You still don't know, man. You don't know.
I know. I know that it's going to be a bad thing if he goes to WWE. I will bet money. I will bet money on it right now. Guaranteed. There's no fucking way in this world that anybody is going to prefer WWE MJF to AEW. 100 AEW MJF. No way.
100%.
Absolutely no way.
100%.
Well, I'm not saying he'll be the same MJF. I'm talking about success wise. He may have a great career there. He may be champion and all that shit, but the fans may not feel him the way that he does in AEW because he's not going to cut the AEW promos. But as far as getting
that's MJF.
He can still get the push.
MJF.
He's
MJF, man.
Yeah, but it's not like what's the big guy there? Wardlow. Like Wardlow going to WWE, possibility. That makes sense. Who's the other guy? Cage. What's his name? Brian Cage. Him. Yeah. He's got WWE written all over him. Those two guys, different story. They come to WWE, it's possible. MJF, he doesn't have that. He doesn't have that. He doesn't have that big frame.
I feel like that's the problem. I feel like that's the problem with WWE's end because you can't water down what's making the person the person. And that's basically what you just said, Mousy. Like, you can't. MJF, if he goes to WWE, I completely agree with you. He's not going to be the same.
It's not going to work
what stands out. Yeah, what stands out with MJF is that he is actually putting himself really. MJF is literally MJF. That's the only way to put it. That's literally who he is. His promos, he's cutting from the heart. That's how he is. WWE, historically speaking, has a tendency to water down and oversaturate what makes these star wrestlers exactly who they are. And I personally would much rather see MJF go anywhere other than WWE. I don't
Agreed.
even want him in NXT if it was the same NXT as like 2017. I just don't.
And
I don't
I'm glad
think it's cool.
I just want to interject. I'm glad you brought up NXT because that's another catalyst that WWE uses to minimize talent from elsewhere. Okay, MJF comes over. There's no guarantee that he's going to go straight to the main roster unless he builds it into his contract. So at the end of the day, you're risking so many things. You're risking character assassination. You're risking being demoted in the eyes of the fans. You're risking notoriety. You're missing media appearances. You're missing the ability to go elsewhere and work. What exactly about WWE, other than its lineage, is attracting guys to come over anyway? And don't say it's money, because Tony Khan has money coming out of his ears.
It's the attraction. I mean, AEW is great, but they're not the WWE when it comes to globally wide. You can become a bigger star in WWE.
Not yet, but they're climbing.
I'm talking about as of right now. I mean,
I agree.
It'll probably always be that way, honestly. The WWE
but there's only one way, my brother. There's only one way, okay? And I mean this. I'm passionate about this. There's only one way to get AEW or any other organization on that level, and that's to stop acting like WWE is the major leagues and everything else is the minor leagues. That's the only way.
But
you're bringing more relevancy.
These guys going. Sorry, Rumble. My bad.
No, I was just gonna say I agree, Sean, because you're bringing relevancy to WWE. Because, say for example, if I never watched WWE in my life, and I watched AEW, and I hear some remark about WWE and AEW, any regular person is gonna be like, "Oh, well, what's WWE? Let me look this up." Therefore, you're feeding it to that competition. 100% agree, Sean. If AEW was just AEW and stopped doing these small little like kind of remarks about WWE and kind of saying things about Vince, bro, they would be just fine. Stay in your own lane. That's why personally I don't like Tony Khan, because Tony Khan literally has, I don't know how explicit I can get, but literally has WWE in his mouth. Like, just that's all he feeds off of is WWE. And if you can literally sit there and go like, damn, you know what, they're a good company, but I don't need to talk to them about that much. I really have no beef with them or whatever it is. I don't really care about them that much. I just want to focus on what I have. Next thing you know, I don't know how long it might take. Let's just say hypothetically 5 years or so. Now people are sitting there going like, damn, it's SmackDown and Dynamite? Oh my God. Like, now it's truly a competition because you're not worried about the competitor. And that's really what Vince said in the Pat was the Pat McAfee show. I don't know how to say his last name, but he basically said, I don't care about. He knows it's competition, but he doesn't care. And that's why I think that WWE is going to obviously continue to do their thing. And I'm not promoting Vince in any way. I'm just using his words. If Tony Khan stays in his lane, they're good. They're good.
Yo, I disagree 10,000%, Rambo, on that Vince McMahon stuff. Vince McMahon does care. He acts like he doesn't care. He is the sympathy mind. He is a genius, bro. When WCW was beating him, did you know he wrote and complained to somebody saying, "I'm just a small company owned by me, and I don't have as much money as Ted Turner." But Vince doesn't watch the other companies. I thought Vince doesn't do that. Who advertised right in front of the building when they were having their pay-per-view at Double or Nothing? That seems pretty petty. Why can't Tony Khan bring that up? Do you know why they can't run shows in Buffalo, New York? I'm going to AEW tomorrow, by the way. I had to look this up, and I started asking people, like, how come they don't come to Buffalo? Oh, there's an exclusive deal with companies like WWE in certain cities. That's why you can't go to Madison Square Garden. That's why you can't go to Buffalo, New York. So AEW is looking for secondary markets so that they can say, all right, let's get in here. And then once we get people to start saying our names enough, it'll get demanded in bigger buildings. So they have to do that. And I think you can't lay down to Vince McMahon. He will not respect you if you don't respond back to him. That's why he treats MLW the way he did.
Tony
and that's
is
why
too childish. Tony comes off too childish. Like,
Is it childish though?
No,
It can't be. It
not,
can't be
he's
not,
sometimes.
he,
Yeah.
he's a
It can't
mark.
be sometimes.
He's a mark.
yeah,
You
it
know?
not in the sense of him doing and saying it, but if you look at Tony Khan, and no disrespect to him, the dude has money, his whole family has money, he's good. But like when you look at him, right, realistically, you see a mark, like you said, you see a mark. You see a guy who's
You do.
very, excited. It's like a little kid at a candy store, bro. And there's no problem with that. There's
He's
no
a
problem
mark.
with that. Yeah, for sure. There's no problem with that. But then when you look at a guy like Vince, and I hate to say it, he looks like he's about business. So therefore, I agree, Conrad. They're gonna have to basically show it and basically say like, hey, like you're gonna have to basically tell Vince like, yo, I'm not backing down regardless.
Here's the thing, though.
But
Vince,
it's just different with him because no one could take Tony serious. That's the thing.
I would rather have a boss hug me like Tony Khan was, where everyone was dogging him, than in Vince McMahon's world where he loves the cutthroat and he let Undertaker do all the stuff he
I
did to
agree.
people for years. Oh yeah, that's the good guy right here, huh? This is your man's, like that's your man's right here.
I
Vince and
agree.
Taker hugging.
here's the
I
thing.
wholeheartedly agree.
Vince obviously cares about AEW. Think about it. If Vince never, and I'm talking about when AEW first started, I'm not talking about now. Think about it. If Vince didn't care about AEW, then why did they move NXT from Tuesday to Wednesday a month before AEW to compete? And after NXT lost to AEW, Vince was so upset about that. That's why he ruined AEW. I mean, that's why he ruined NXT. That's why they moved it back to Tuesday. That's why, and you can say whatever. I will go to my grave head. That's why they brought Karrion Kross up as champion.
Please don't talk about that.
Oh, no, I'm going to talk about it because I need to talk about it. Because they brought Karrion Kross, was undefeated and NXT champion at the time. He comes on, no presentation. I remember watching, I'm like, where's Scarlett? Where's the smoke? Where's everything? Oh, it's not here. And what did they do? They have him rolled up by Jeff Hardy in less than 2 minutes. That means in one night, the NXT champion lost his manager, his presentation, his undefeated streak to a 40-year-old wrestler who was not even protected, who lost a video main event. So Vince obviously had his agenda. NXT didn't beat AEW, so Vince killed NXT. And I will never get over that. That's why I don't watch NXT, because Vince killed it. And you guys can say I'm being petty, and I admit I am. I don't care. Vince thought, oh, I'm going to put NXT against AEW, and NXT's going to win. No, NXT lost. So he said, well, I'm not. Vince McMahon doesn't take L's. So I'm going to take NXT, I'm going to rip it apart, and I'm going to reshape it in my image.
And blame Triple H.
And blame Triple H. At the end of the day, Vince, you're the one who decided to put NXT against AEW, not Triple H. You're the one who decided to run Takeover Quality Night on regular shows, doing Great American Bash. It was your decision, Vince, not Triple H's. Triple H did what he had to do, and what did you do? You took his champion, you buried him, and then you buried the whole concept of NXT, and you've been doing it for years. You buried every person, almost everyone that came from NXT, that came to the main roster, you buried them. And then what do? After you completely ruined Karrion Kross, you put him in that stupid-ass match, what do? You release him. Keith Lee, a guy who could have been a main event, a world champion, you released him. You made him Barry Cat Lee, then you released him. And then Vince wonders why no one watches. Then they wonder why we can't have stars, because every time Triple H gives you someone who could have been a star, you ruin him.
That's why AEW mentions WWE is exactly what Kyron just said, and everybody else. Fans like us, we're like, okay, we're tired of this shit. Enough's enough, you know? So we go over there because we're complaining about them right now, and then they'll complain about them, saying how shit they are or whatever, or you know, it's different over here, guys. Don't worry, you're safe, and that's why they're doing it. That's why they're speaking those three letters, in my opinion.
They're trying to create it like as an environment where you can come over here and you don't have to worry about politics.
Exactly, and that's and I don't really think that's a bad idea because
that's a problem, my brother. I'm gonna tell you why it's a problem. Even though you're 100% right, I'm gonna tell you why what you're saying that's right is a problem. To hell with this narrative that AEW is a safe space. To hell with this narrative. Yes, in a lot of ways it is, but to hell with this narrative that AEW is the place that when WWE screws it up will save your career. To hell with that. Now, you know what it should be about? It should be about AEW. You should come here because we're freaking better.
But that's what they're trying to do. They're saying they're better by proving it, proving that, hey, you fucked up with these talents, and we're handling it properly, so we're better. That's what they're doing.
The safe space narrative, and I want to be clear, you're right about what you're saying, but the safe space narrative lends itself to making people believe that you test the waters in WWE, and if they screw it up, you come to AEW. The hell with that crap.
Can I link what you two are saying though? I'm gonna just put this little link on here. It goes back to when Adam Cole debuted, and they brought in Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly. Do you know what they did that they didn't have to do? They took the second to explain, isn't Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly mad at each other because the last time we saw them on television, they were in like this bloodthirsty feud, and Kyle O'Reilly looked at him and he looked at him, and then they had that coming to Jesus meeting backstage. He was like, listen, I know we've had our problems, but together we were a hell of a unit. Let's form up together. So I think it's just playing into, we're all smart fans in here. We know what we saw, and they're going to play into that a little bit. If it's from another company, cool. We'll cut that off, and then we're going to make our own story from this and let it happen after that.
Well, I think they kind of had to do that. I mean, yeah, I get it. It's a different company, but like you said, they were in a blood feud. You can't just do that, and then like a month or two later, and everything's cool now, because the smartest fans are like, you two hate each other. Why are you working together now? It's funny. After the rant, I just went on. My brother asked me, what did Vince McMahon do to me? I told him he took away the one thing I cared about and ruined it. That's what Vince did to me. And I don't usually get that fired up, but I've been holding that in for the last years. Yeah. They did NXT, so that's why I got so fired up right there. But I agree. We can't just promote AEW as a safe space. Oh, if it didn't work in WWE, it'll work here, because it doesn't all the time. I mean, there's a lot of guys who we thought would do better than AEW that isn't doing anything. Now, I'm not saying WWE would have done better, because they didn't. But like, we gotta promote AEW is the place to be because we're better. We can do what WWE can't. And don't get me wrong. In some ways, AEW is leagues better than WWE. Their tag team division is way better, and a lot of things they do. But at the same time, AEW is a lot of things growing pains they're still dealing with. That women's division is still hit and miss. And if show with the barbed wire exploring ring death match last year, that presentation is nowhere near on WWE's level. Prime example, OTR Central said it best in his WrestleMania Night 1 review. And that interest alone at WrestleMania made Cody feel like a bigger deal with WWE than he ever did in AEW. And that's just a fact. When he came out, you can't tell me when you saw Cody enter the WrestleMania, like, he feels bigger now than he ever did in AEW. And I'm glad they did let him keep the American Nightmare gimmick. Like, I admit, I popped hard not when Cody came out, the fact they still let him use Kingdom. But, because I love that song, but it's like, yeah, MJF comes to WWE. He might have better presentation, but you can't use what MJF's doing now in WWE. And while I hate blaming PG for it, it comes down to a PG product. The stuff MJF says and does not fit in a PG product. Prime example, you brought up meet and greets. MJF does do meet and greets, but he stands completely in character. Like, it was that I was watching yesterday because it was funny. It was funny as hell. It was a meet and greet deal with like an 11-year-old girl. They throwing shit right back at each other. It's great. They flip each other off. That's like, you can't do that now.
No, exactly. But I want to talk about the Cody thing real quick. Although that was an amazing moment, it was a great WrestleMania moment for Cody Rhodes, and I believe that the timing was great, the way they did it was great, and all that. But okay, he seemed really important that night. Did he seem as important to you the night after on Raw? To me, he didn't.
No,
he didn't.
No, he did not.
He did not. The pop was not even fucking close.
Absolutely not. That's a great point. No, he did not.
But it's not like he still.
And MJF would be the same shit if they ever bring him in. Okay, cool. You have your WrestleMania moment. You the man. Monday night. Who are you again?
Great point.
No, check this out.
It's short-lived.
I'm gonna piggyback off that. Yeah, I'm gonna piggyback off that. What they're trying to do is, what it comes off is, they're trying to take the momentum that they had in AEW and transfer it. But you have to realize they're two different fans. There's AEW fans and then there's WWE fans, and they cater to two completely different people. And the prime example of that is Cody. Cody Rhodes overall is a great wrestler. He's a phenomenal wrestler. The American Nightmare is amazing. But literally what you said, Mousy, that quick rush, that oh my God, someone from AEW is here in WWE the exact same way. Oh my God, that temporary euphoric feeling, and then you're like, oh,
It means
okay, well it's Cody.
nothing.
Yeah, and this isn't just any other Raw.
Rambo,
Yeah.
both you guys are so right. 2 weeks later, it means nothing.
Yes.
Nothing.
And to be honest, it wasn't just any Raw the next night. It was a Raw after Mania. This is a big fucking deal. You know? So okay, let's say they put Cody not at WrestleMania, but they put him at Raw after Mania. Okay. That's a big pop. But is it going to be the same? Is it going to be the same? It's not.
Let me tell you
It's
something.
not going to be the same.
Cody Rhodes, because Rambo and Mountie, you hit the nails right on that. Cody Rhodes now is going to have a little bit of a second breath because of this injury. I don't wish injury on anybody, but you got to look at the bright side of things, right? He's going to go away. He's going to come back to a massive ovation whenever he comes back, right? Cody Rhodes, if he was still in the company right now, if he wasn't injured, would be just another guy. Cody Rhodes is no longer special in WWE. Cody Rhodes does not elicit a response in WWE. Just, you know why? Because nobody elicits a response in WWE, with the exception of possibly Roman Reigns and the Bloodline. Other than that, it's all generic. Have you seen in-house reactions to when people come out at live events in WWE?
Bro.
It's pathetic.
It's not.
Yeah. It's crazy because it's like they don't understand. They, as in the company of WWE, entirely don't understand. And I'm gonna just speak very honestly and very opinionated. They're literally it doesn't seem like it, but they are losing a lot of key viewers, in my honest opinion. Because when they repetitively put out the same type of content, when they repetitively put out that same like routine,
I can't do it
style stuff, we are already accustomed to it. We're already knowing what's going to happen before it happens. So when we see, like, personally, I can use Austin Theory, for example. When you see someone like Austin Theory or Liv Morgan win the title, for a minute, you're like, whoa, oh, damn, okay, well, what are they going to do with this? And the next thing you know, we have someone like Brock Lesnar who might come out, and no disrespect to Brock, but there's people who literally in the back that you can do a lot with that comes through and just takes that spot. So therefore, it makes us as viewers kind of like, man, like really, like I feel like I know what's about to happen this Monday, or I feel like I know what's about to happen in Money in the Bank. And now people are like, okay, well, look at this AEW stuff. For someone who might not never seen it before, you look at this AEW stuff, and you're like, dang, they kind of feel, they kind of talking. Like I kind of feel like I'm in that ring with them. And
it goes to the point though Sean was saying. Sean was bringing up a good point where WWE knows they're at the point where they have loyal fans. People are going to watch their shit no matter what. Now, people like us, we may go back and forth, but they're going to have their fans. They're going to make their money, and they don't have to rely on people like us anymore because those are the type of people that they care about, that they focus on. There are people out there who refuse to watch AEW because they're team WWE. So, like, people like that they won't switch over, and they know they have those people in the palm of their hands. So they know they can do crap, and people still going to tune in the next week and watch that same crap because they're already there, and they're still going to make a lot of money. They're still going to have fun. People are still going to reach out to them. Their pay-per-views are going to sell. Me and Kyron are going to SummerSlam. We're going. And the same main event, I'm going to watch the same main event that I saw at WrestleMania over again.
That's good. That's good in the short term, but look at this. Pat McAfee, Bad Bunny, Logan Paul. Why are they over than more than half your roster? And you have big, bad roster problems, bro. Facts. That's a problem.
Yeah. Those guys are global social media wise. That's why they're using them. They already have names established.
Yeah, but what did the piggyback off Mark said about Brock Lesnar? I'm actually going to comment on what a lot of you just said. Mark brought up Brock Lesnar. This goes back to when, and I want to bring up Roman Reigns, but I guess now's a good time to talk about it. When they unified the titles, if they knew Roman was going to work a lighter schedule, what was the point of unifying the titles? Now we don't get one world championship. The whole point of doing a brand split and having two world titles was to avoid another Brock Lesnar situation. But now Roman has both titles. We don't see neither world title. He hasn't wrestled in the last two pay-per-views.
This is worse. And this is worse.
Exactly. If you didn't do that, like in prime example, you put a title on Brock, you want to do the undisputed title thing. Either what you should have done was you should have either had Roman forfeit one title, because if like, and one thing, this is probably David not thinking ahead. You knew before WrestleMania Roman's gonna work less dates now. If we're gonna have him win the main event, which he obviously should, what's the point? Why? What are we gonna do with the roster now? Who's fighting anything? And then you now I said 2 days. Roman wasn't on Hell in a Cell for the last 3 days. Roman didn't. I mean, he hasn't defended the title, but so that's a problem right then and there. Then Brock Lesnar. I can give you an exact moment, like when I wasn't watching SmackDown Live. I think I was at work, but when I saw Brock Lesnar in front of Roman Reigns, and WWE announced it on social media, main event of SummerSlam, Brock Lesnar Roman Reigns. I was like, oh my God, not again! Like, at what point? Oh, you going to that well too often? This year, and here's the thing: this year was the first time they got a Roman Reigns Brock Lesnar feud right. Now, granted, the match did not deliver. The match at WrestleMania this year was a disappointment, but at least they had the character realignments right for once. Roman's a heel, Brock's a face, and the crowd was into it. Now, the match itself didn't deliver. But then you think of WrestleMania 34. Then you think of WrestleMania 31, which was good, but that was at Seth cashing in. If Roman and Brock had won straight up, it wouldn't have went over well. You had SummerSlam 2018. Hell, SummerSlam 2017, a Fatal 4-Way. You had Greatest Royal Rumble. You had the Saudi show last year. You've done this feud way too many times, and with the exception of one time, one-on-one, only one time delivered. That was WrestleMania 31. Even that would deserve the asterisk because Seth got involved. Now, you add a stipulation, a last man standing match. Okay, but why Brock? Why again? And and then you guys brought up McAfee, Bad Bunny, Logan Paul, Johnny Knoxville. What did I say before Wrestle? I think I told Malik this. Me and Malik were talking about this. What did I say? Even though, now don't get it twisted, all celebrity matches this year WrestleMania delivered. I thought the tag team match with Logan Paul was good. Knoxville and Sami Zayn was a definition for entertainment, and McAfee, in theory, the crowd went crazy for it. Love that. But what did I say going into it was going to be a problem? You had 3 matches between 2 nights that had celebrities in it. Now, I know McAfee works for the company, but you know what I'm saying. What's going to happen later on? Like, now, once again, those matches delivered, and I'm not complaining because I loved all 3 of them. But this is an indictment on the roster and the company. When you have to rely this hardly on celebrities, don't get it twisted. I understand WrestleMania's always had celebrities, but when you got 3 celebrity matches on one WrestleMania, that's a little bit of overkill. And this goes back to what happened last year when you released that many people. I said this. When they had that many releases last year, what was the thing I said? Now, we get to WrestleMania, what are they going to do? Now, all 3 of those celebrity matches delivered, so we can't complain. But now we get to that point where it's past WrestleMania. You don't have them wrestling. It's at McAfee. He'll be at SummerSlam. But you don't have Bad Bunny. You don't have Johnny Knoxville. So what's your plan now? And like I said, I already bought my ticket, so I'm going to SummerSlam regardless. But exactly. So, and I'm excited regardless. I've never been to SummerSlam, and I'm actually, so I'm excited. But at the same time, it's like, what are you giving me? I don't want to.
It's a repetitive state, though. WWE only cares about the moment now. They know the celebrities like the Logan Paul and those guys are going to attract their people over to what they want to bring into WWE because, people are like, wait a minute, Logan Paul's wrestling WrestleMania. He ain't a wrestler. Well, let me see what this is about. I'm saying he's not a wrestler, so what's going to happen here? What Johnny Knoxville's in the ring, or Floyd Mayweather. When I was a kid and Floyd Mayweather fought the Big Show, I knew Floyd Mayweather was a boxer, but I'm like, yo, Floyd Mayweather fighting the Big Show. Like, I can't miss this. Like, I got to see what's going to happen here. Like, you're intrigued by it. That's what WWE is about. They're about the now and the making money. They know that this is going to make a lot of money, and this is what they care about in the now. They ain't worried about what's going to happen afterwards. Afterwards, they're going to do the little nick picks here and there. And like I said, they only care about the fans who are loyal to them because they know people are going to tune in. They're at the established where they're the biggest wrestling company in the world. They have been for years. They have all the sponsor deals. They're talked about on SportsCenter, and ESPN covers them, and they got all these big network deals out there and shit like that. You know what I mean? That's what they're about, and that's what they lean towards to do.
And once again, it's great for the moment. And it's great for the moment. And I've always said this. They said it on What Culture 5 years ago, and it just rings so true. WrestleMania is not for us anymore. It's not for the hardcore fans who are going to be watching no matter what. And I get it. You want to get the broadest audience. I understand it. But WrestleMania is not for us. It's for the people who dipped their toe in around Royal Rumble and then stay to WrestleMania to see what's going on. The problem is when they don't stay, you don't have that same celebrity name. So, and once again, yeah, we're gonna watch, but what happens if we start watching? Me, I'll be honest, I barely watch weekly programming. One, I don't have the time, and two, I don't have the energy because I just don't care anymore.
Well, it's a big commitment. Exactly. It's a big commitment to be disappointed.
There's different type of fans though. Like when we grew up, when all of us grew up, we weren't missing episodes of Raw and SmackDown. It was a must thing. Like it didn't matter what you were doing. If you were outside playing with your friends, or if you were out, you gotta go and watch SmackDown.
See ya. Gotta go in.
But now it's like they have the loyal fans and they have the here and now fans like us. Like we'll watch. We may tune into the pay-per-views. We may catch a glimpse. Like for me, I don't watch full episodes of Raw and SmackDown anymore. I record them. But I go back. I just go and watch. I go and watch the segments that I know that I are invested into or are important. Like I'll go check out the, if Roman Reigns is on TV and he's cutting a promo, okay, I'm gonna go check out and see what he's saying. But like if the next match is like, Shotzi versus Natalya, okay, I don't, that's something that I'm invested into anymore. But when we were growing up, it's just a different era, and I think WWE knows their era is different, and they only care about the now, and they only care about the casual.
To your point,
go ahead.
Go.
Oh, I was just gonna say something that Kyron said earlier about the brand split, and that's what I was gonna say. You can go ahead, Sean, and then I'll talk about it. But that whole thing with Roman, and I might go off for a second, just because it just pisses me off. I'm not even gonna lie to you. The idea of this goddamn brand split just aggravates me. Why do they keep doing this? What is going to happen, right, when you have a Survivor Series where initially it would be, maybe a Team Raw and a Team SmackDown, and someone was like, hey, you're like, I don't know, you're a kid and you're asking your friend, hey, are you Team Raw or are you Team SmackDown? Are you Team such and such and such and such? There's no more of that feeling, in my honest opinion. And it a lot of it deals with this idiotic brand split that they do, because there's no real distinction between these two brands. You have Liv Morgan, who is the champion. You have Bianca Belair, who is the champion. Now you have Roman Reigns, which is practically carrying the entire male division with the bloodline. Cool, but why make it two? I mean, why make it one belt? Because it's going to happen. You know it's going to happen. They're going to probably bring that belt back to where it's, you have a title and it's for both brands. I hate that with a passion. I miss the idea, and I'm sorry. I feel like I haven't talked like this in a minute, so please forgive me. But I also hate the idea of keep using the same people. And the only reason I said that is because Kyron mentioned Brock Lesnar. I also mentioned Brock Lesnar. That's why I also like Theory and Liv. I like the idea of seeing someone who is not familiar, but he's clearly capable of doing something in that ring. And I like the aggression behind wanting to get that title. I feel like that is just gone. It's so weird watching wrestling now, to me, in my honest opinion. I love it. I love wrestling to death. Malik, you even know how closely deep I get with that, even, on some one-on-one stuff. It's weird. It's so systematic, like the way that WWE does stuff now. And you're right, Malik, and everyone else, because they have that hardcore fan base, but it's weird. I honestly, I'm gonna also agree with everyone else too. I haven't been watching wrestling as much, just also because I've been very busy. But when I try to watch it, I try to watch it.
It doesn't feel like a reliable thing anymore. Like
it
growing up, like it didn't matter how busy you were. You can't miss Raw. You can't miss Raw. It's just a must.
But it was different too, because if you missed Raw, you missed Raw. Now you miss Raw, you can record it, you can watch it on YouTube.
You missed Raw.
So many friggin' different ways.
And you still don't even really want to watch it.
But honestly, though,
bro, you know how many fucking Raws and SmackDowns I've deleted off my PVR? I have like 6 of them.
Oh yeah,
boom, bye. See you later. I'll catch the next one, and I don't watch.
I think what also
it's like, what is going on?
We talk about the hardcore fans though, but honestly, realistically, we're all hardcore fans at heart. We may not keep up with it as much today, but we grew up in good eras of wrestling where it invested us and brought us in. If we grew up in
Glued
wrestling
to the
today,
tube, Malik. Glued to the
Yes.
tube. Now, when I watch
Yeah.
Raw, if I do have a chance to watch Raw or SmackDown, this is me. I'm just fucking scrolling on Twitter and Instagram and
Yeah.
Facebook
I
and
think
this.
I think I think I think
Oh,
that it's hard for
nothing
us.
happened. Fuck
It's
it.
hard for
Next
us
match.
to
You know,
for
like
us
I don't know,
growing
man.
up in the eras that we did. We grew up in eras that attached us to wrestling so much that it's hard for us to fully stop watching.
No, we can't let go. I get you.
Can't let go. It's hard for
No.
us to let go
Hell
because
no.
even though when something so bad,
Bro,
The
I'll be
two
the
H's.
I'll be the
There.
first one to admit I'm not happy with what they're doing, but I'll never fucking cancel my subscription. I can't.
They
It's,
got
can't
it.
do
it. Can't.
it's the two H's, hope and habit.
yeah, it can't, bro. WWE gives
True.
you too much. Like you know they may disappoint you, but there's always that chance that like maybe they
Today's the day.
Yeah,
They
maybe-
give it the college try, you know? Like,
Here's the heartbreaking thing for me. I don't know if you guys will agree. I always had this debate, whether it was with myself or with friends, and I'll
Sean,
do.
can I just stop you there? I guarantee you we're going to agree. Anyway, carry on.
I appreciate that. I was born into Hulkamania and Flair. I was a young kindergarten, elementary school, high school kid through attitude, through ruthless aggression, through PG, right? All the way to my manhood now. And the question always was, how are we going to graduate from Hogan, Andre, Macho? Okay, well, you know what? That's impossible. There's no way we're going to get past that. It's just impossible. But then here comes the NWO. Here comes DX. Here comes Austin and Rock. Okay, well, thank God. Let's take a deep breath. Wrestling's going to survive another 10 years. Thank God, right? But, oh, my God, what are we going to do when Rock and Austin and DX and everybody goes and Bret Hart? What are we going to do then? Well, oh, my God. Not that I'm a big fan, but, oh, my God. Here's John Cena and Randy Orton and Batista. Oh, thank God. We survived. I thought it was going to die, but here comes the new generation. 2022, we have Roman Reigns.
We'll just say we just have Roman Reigns. Okay.
No, by the way, my screen didn't freeze. I said Roman Reigns and I stopped talking.
Yeah, Roman Reigns. Pretty much it.
Yeah,
Roman Reigns.
Drew McIntyre.
And it looked like, and honestly, you may not even count Roman soon because if he's going to be on the Brock Lesnar stuff, then you just have nobody. So, I mean, yeah.
And the thing is,
I say all that to say this, guys, and I know you all know where I'm going with this. I think we finally reached the generation where it's starting to die. And it sucks to say, but it's starting to die.
Well, I think more so it's this.
I kind of see where you're coming from.
When we grew up, nowadays there are superstars that have potential. You just don't know if WWE's going to utilize them. You look at guys that we grew up with, and somebody like a Randy Orton who's 24 in the WWE title, so the world title. So back then you're probably like, God, he's too young for that, but the potential was always there. Then okay, let's take him away from the world title picture for a little bit, and then let's put him back when he's ready. And then when he won the WWE title for the Age of Orton stuff, he was ready then. He was more than ready for that spot. And the Age of Orton title run was probably maybe the best title run of his career. But nowadays you don't you look at somebody like a lot of people talk about somebody like a Walter or Gunther. I like him. Does he have potential? Yeah, but I don't know if WWE is going to utilize him to his full potential because
hell no.
Players that I've seen like a Shinsuke Nakamura or Bobby Roode or Samoa Joe,
don't get started.
All these people who had potential to go up there and be something didn't turn out to be anything. So you never, like I said, WWE, you never know. They use people that sometimes somebody like Alexa Bliss. Alexa Bliss didn't have the best NXT career, but she comes to the main roster and she had a better career on the main roster than she did in NXT. So who would have guessed? But you look at somebody like Shinsuke Nakamura, great NXT career, comes to the main roster, like okay, he's there, he's ready for his push. And you look at him now, nobody cares about him because nobody's invested in him because the company's not invested in him.
And this is why I stopped watching a lot because it was that year 2018. You guys remember it? It was like, and I started becoming a broken record. Every week on Raw, I was just complaining about everything. I was just so angry at what WWE was doing, and I was getting you getting a lot, and I was starting to annoy you guys from that. Not like a lot of people are annoyed with me, like, Kyrie, you're getting too angry. Kyrie, you're complaining too much. That's a big reason why I stopped watching weekly, because I was tired of getting angry every week. And you guys know this. When people like Shinsuke Nakamura, Bobby, and I'm not gonna get angry this time because there's no point. You guys know where I'm going. Nakamura, Rude, even people like Sanity, the Pain, people who killed NXT, they come up when you can use these type of people. And you don't. You literally, and you take away everything that made them good. And now, this is why we're stuck with only Roman Reigns. Because, look at the Finn Balor, for instance. You had 2 opportunities. Not one. And you messed up the first time. He went back to NXT, reinvented himself, came back. Okay, what happens? You pretty much do the same thing. You have him lose that Extreme Rules match to Roman in the dumbest way possible. And at that point, I knew Finn was never going to probably be able to take it seriously again after the turnbuckle fell under him. Yeah. Nakamura. Like, there is no reason Nakamura should not have been WWE champion on the main roster. There is no excuse for it. Yeah. And Bobby Roode was even worse because Bobby Roode was the best heel in the company at NXT. You bring him on the main roster, and the first thing you do is turn a babyface? What sense does that make, Vince? And then Vince wonders why no one gets over, because every time you have someone who can, you take away everything that made them good. And that's why people don't watch. And that's why I stopped watching NXT. That's why I don't watch NXT 2.0.
You know, it's really funny that you say that, because like everybody knows how good those NXT talent were before coming up. I mean, with a few exceptions. Sorry, my dog's going crazy. And you know, here's Vinnie Mac saying, "Hey, all right, Hunter, take all these guys that these are your boys. So go make it happen against AEW." So it's like, why the fuck if you didn't believe in them, why are you putting them up against AEW in the first place? You know,
NXT felt too much like an independent promotion. That's why.
But still, I think Vince didn't want to go head to head because he knew he wasn't going to win it. In a sense, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong.
That's exactly what I was about to say. And there was a couple things that I wanted to piggyback off a lot of what y'all said. And one thing, Kyron, I just want to say one thing before I get to the other one. Kyron, about what you said, bro, I'm a firm believer of this, and I stand by this. And also with you, Sean. I'm a firm believer in the concept of, or the term, history repeating itself. I do remember now. I'll just be straight up. I'm obviously the youngest one here in the 6-pack, but I know enough to know that once upon a time, WWE was very stale, and the next thing you know, please correct me if I'm wrong, WCW came along. Now, if I remember correctly, if I heard correctly, WWE wasn't doing that well. They were kind of slowly on the decline. You know, they weren't completely out of the water, but they were in the decline. And you know what happened? It took the idea, granted the times are different, but it took the idea of Vince to say, okay, we're going to need to do something. Now, granted, like I said, the times are different. I could be wrong. But basically, there was like a flip of the switch. And right after that, they said, okay, we're going to bring new people, or we're going to use our people maybe a little more. We're going to change how we use the people. Then ushered what? The Attitude Era, which is literally, in my honest opinion, at that time, if the Attitude Era did not happen, who knows where WWE would have been.
They would have lost the war. They would have gone out of business.
They would have been dead. So that's what I'm saying. And I don't necessarily want to count WWE out just yet, Sean. But I see where you're coming from.
You never know.
But we do also have to realize that this is WWE. This is not their first time where they hopefully know. But they know that what they're producing is not good. So
I think what also plays a factor too is that you talk about the times are different, but WWE wasn't also making the money they're making now back then. Back then it was like sink or swim. We got to change shit up or we're losing the company type stuff. And plus, the pop culture is different too. Like the way the Attitude Era was, it was cool for that time. You could characters like Austin and The Godfather, and it was cool for that time frame. You look at some of the stuff they did in WWE, like back in the Attitude Era. People always ask me on TikTok, like questions like, man, they should bring back the Attitude Era. But like, you
They
can't
can't do
They should not. They
bring
should
back
not.
the Attitude Era.
You can't in this
The
environment.
world is so different nowadays. 90% of the stuff they did in the Attitude Era will be canceled on TV today. You can't do it. You can't do the Godfather calling people hoes. He didn't say hoe, but disrespecting women. You can't do it. It's out of line right now.
Ladies of the night.
Yeah, Val Venus plays a porn star. Oh, we can't do that, man. That's too nasty. For TV.
And
I agree with you.
like,
I agree with you.
like, sorry, Mark. It's like that's entertainment in general. That's why I always laugh when people say, "Oh, all WWE needs to do is go back to that style of booking, and they'll get these ratings again." First off, you're never gonna get those ratings again because, and this is not even on WWE. DVR, there's more to watch on TV. Social media didn't exist back then, so it's a whole different landscape in terms of TV. And once again, as much as I hate saying it, it's true to a degree. People are a little bit way too sensitive now. You can't get away with certain things. Prime example, one of my favorite sitcoms of all time is Married with Children. That show would not fly today. That show would have been canceled so fast over the stuff that they said did back then.
Wow.
And that's what they're trying to do. They're trying to do like a reboot, an animated reboot. Like, it's not gonna work. You can't get away with some of that stuff now. Rightfully so, but
you can't even do stuff in the Ruthless Aggression Era.
It's because I know it's ironic because here we are doing it, but everybody has a fucking voice now, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everybody has a voice now, so thank you, internet, for that. And everybody's opinion matters, and the reality is it doesn't. It doesn't.
Conrad, you got something to say?
Yeah, going back to what you were saying, Malik, you're pretty much right on the spot. Here's the difference from you had to push Stone Cold. Sean wasn't working. His back was hurt. What are we going to do? We need ratings. We're losing to WCW. We'll get Mike Tyson, and we're going to slowly, going back to what Sean said, we slowly are going to build up Steve Austin. When they thought he broke his neck, they probably crapped their pants. Like, oh no, what are we about to do? We got to figure this out. And then they finally had Austin win. They protected Austin. But in today's world, you're looking for the next sweet Saudi money deal. What do you care what Conrad, Sean, Roman Gaines, Kyron, Narcolepsy Boy on TikTok, what do you care what the Oreo Man thinks? They don't care what we think because they're like, yo, sweet Saudi, sign that check, baby, for 10 more years and we'll be right on over, because that keeps them alive. That's what guarantees their future. That's why Nick Khan's there, because Nick Khan used to manage Ariel Helwani. He used to manage people, and he has all these deals set up. He knows everybody in their same industry. He can make stuff happen for them. That's why he's in that position, so that he may say, like, hey, listen, let's cut 15 wrestlers. Who's making you mad? Who's getting on your nerves? Who aren't you using? And when they're looking at, Keith Lee's not working out, really, cut him. Who cares about Braun Strowman? We've got Omos sitting right there. You got another giant right here. They don't care anymore. And it's just all about.
I think WWE plays more into the Hollywood factor too. I think The Rock changed the game for that, because when he first shifted over to Hollywood, people said he wouldn't succeed. They said it was a bad idea. They said that, he was a wrestler. He couldn't make it in Hollywood. Now he's bigger than ever. And now you're starting to see more of the Hollywood people shift over there. WWE superstars want to go to Hollywood. Hollywood people want to come to WWE and do stuff with WWE. Logan Paul and Bad Bunny and, all these other people. They're talking about, Israel Adesanya talked about, I'd like to go to WWE someday, just because it's a shift factor now. WWE is kind of Hollywood now. They kind of play together into a team. You can go to WWE. Roman Reigns now at the point where he pretty much has options, whether I'm big enough now where either I could still be a WWE superstar, or I could probably go over to Hollywood and try out the Hollywood movie star thing. You know what I mean? Because I'm at that level now. Superstars now see that. And I think that's why, honestly, I think more superstars who are at the top spot will start taking more of the part-time schedule, because Brock Lesnar made that famous, and he changed the game for that, because he shows superstars, if you can get as popular as me and as over as I can, you not only can make the same amount of money, or if more you making right now, but you can work a lesser schedule. You ain't got to work you ain't got to be at Raw, SmackDown every week. You ain't got to work all the house shows every month. You can make just as much money as you make right now, but on a lesser schedule. And I think more superstars are starting to see that now. I think that's honestly going to be the future with WWE. More top guys, once they become bigger, mega stars, then pretty much the company, they're like, you know what? I'm gonna take a step back. Let me look at these options over here in Hollywood, or these movie options over here. Let me take a step back and heal my body up, or take a step back and spend time with the family. I think that's gonna be honestly what more superstars are gonna do towards the future.
But the problem is, like you say, Vince is king petty with that type of stuff. Like, remember when The Rock first went to Hollywood, WWE lowballed him. Like, they expect him to fail so they can give him a terrible contract when he came back. That didn't show that so WWE's always pay with that type of stuff. They pick and choose when they want to promote you being and stuff. Like, prime example, last year when Fury and Wilder fought, Big E announced both of them. They had no problem with that. Sasha Banks was in The Mandalorian, though. She got nominated for an Emmy for a performance, and the WWE barely acknowledged it. You realize the face of your women's division was in one of the biggest movie franchises, Star Wars, and a series that is highly praised, and she got nominated for an Emmy. And instead of plastering that all over the company to get the company more views, what happened? Oh, they only named it once. Hell, the director of The Mandalorian, I forgot his name, and Jon Favreau, I think it was Jon Favreau or someone said they found Sasha not from WWE, but because she did the Hot Wings challenge on that YouTube channel. So she was not even found from WWE. And she wanted to the women's division.
And you want to know something crazy? They're smart about it because everywhere she goes, they're gonna get something off of her because of that name.
But instead of promoting it, they just pretend like it doesn't happen.
But like you said, there might be some pettiness to it. But as long as they're getting something out of that name, that's all that matters.
Bro, you don't think WWE maybe making something off John Cena or Batista or whoever? Well, these guys
John Cena said it in an interview. They're getting money off his name every time they use it.
Yeah, they partially own his name. That's like his real name. His real name is John Cena, but the WWE partially owns it because they making money off of what he does. John Cena's success is the WWE success. You know what I mean? So and vice versa. And John Cena probably looks at it like that. He probably looks at
that's why they stay in Vince's good graces so they could buy it back one day.
Mm-hmm. The Rock. Think about it. The Rock and John Cena in particular were Fast and the Furious. Probably one of the biggest film franchises of the 21st century. Batista was in the MCU. But once again, one of the biggest film franchises. Like these guys are in some of the biggest film franchises of the last 20 years. And WWE use that to their advantage, but once again, when they choose to.
Brock Lesnar the same way. When he left the WWE, he went to the UFC, came back bigger than ever.
Yeah, and I agree. And that's why if I'm a wrestler, I would stay in WWE's good graces. That's why I don't. And it's not just them. Like, lots of wrestlers do it. Think about it. Unless you have other plans, unless your big bridge is truly burned, most wrestlers, when they leave the company and they go and shoot interviews, they have a lot of good things to say about the company because they never say never. I could go back. So they're not going to trash Vince too hard unless they really don't have any plans of going back. So that's another thing. So like for example, if I know I'm never going back to WWE, I'm going to probably talk a bunch of shit about Vince, Triple H, how it was booked, Johnny Ace and all this stuff. Like, look at Jim Cornette. But if you're in a situation like, I think when Drew McIntyre first left, he was like very nice about what he said about the company because he ended up going back. You don't want to burn that bridge.
People's experiences are different though. That's what people have to understand. People get upset about like when CM Punk talks stuff about stuff, but his experience may not have been the John Cena experience. He was treated differently. He had different experiences than how he was used or the way that maybe somebody like John Cena talks about it. He didn't have that. He's like, well, okay, that's cool, but like I didn't have that type of experience there. So I'm only talking about how I was used. I'm not saying that the company in general is bad. Some people may go there and have great experiences, but my experience wasn't the best experience. And I think that's how it goes to. They're only petty with certain people, if you know what it's like. Somebody like a Brock Lesnar, they can't be petty with Brock Lesnar because Brock Lesnar just don't give a fuck. If you don't want to be there, you be there. So he don't care about not like, I know he loves wrestling and everything, but it's not his wholehearted passion. Like if Brock Lesnar was to retire tomorrow, Brock Lesnar got enough money in the bank where he's like, all right, you know what?
Yeah, well, his value is
I'm done for the day.
Worldwide known.
Brock even said on the Pat McAfee show, he don't care about his legacy. He care about being a family man and making money. He don't care about title wins and what the fucking where he's at in the Hall of Fame. Like that's not what his goal. His goal is to make money and to take care of his family.
And I can't knock that because at the end of the day, as people, let's be honest. I think we're forgetting like these are human beings and regular people. And people at the end of the day, yeah, they're athletes and they're more big than we'll ever be. But let's be honest. At the core of all of us, no matter what our job is to make money and support our families. So I can't knock Brock when he said that because I'm not. I don't want to. I doubt they're watching it. I'm not passionate about working at Walmart, but I do it because I like making money.
Well, but his experience, maybe like him winning the world title may not mean as much to somebody like an Austin Theory type thing. Like, oh, I'm the world champion. Like, I've wanted this my whole life type thing. Like Brock Lesnar is just world champion. Let's get it moving next to the next paycheck. Next whatever we're doing next. Type thing. Like it's not his alternative as maybe like somebody like a Theory or somebody like a Liv Morgan. She cried from the championship, you know what I mean? Because something you work so hard for and you want so much. But
Kevin Owens too. Remember?
Kevin Owens, you know, it's because something
That was
that
a
you
big
want
deal.
so badly. That's why people talk about why Cody Rhodes come back. That's why he came back because he wants to be the world champion. It's one thing to be the world champion in AEW, but it's the WWE title. It's the one title that his father never held. That he probably knows his father should have held, but he didn't get the opportunity. But you know, he wasn't given that chance to hold. It's the opportunity that maybe his brother could have been, but you know, his brother just wasn't pushed up there to that spot. He feels like he should come back and do something for the family legacy that should have been done. You know what I mean? And maybe it will be done, but
It will be done.
that stuff means more to like certain people than it does to other people. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, sure, and it will be done for Cody because, you know,
And it should
let's be honest, Stardust wasn't going to cut it. It wasn't, you know, for how it went down. There's no fucking way he was ever going to bounce out of that underneath that company umbrella. But going to AEW, this and that, and making a name for himself, if you will, and then coming back, it's different, right? It's totally different.
He's a different Cody Rhodes. It feels
He's a different Cody Rhodes than he once was. The same can be said about AJ Styles when he first, you know, tried out for WWE and, you know, had those couple dark matches, blah blah blah. He comes back at way different AJ Styles, right?
Mhm.
So like he saw that opportunity, and that's probably why, like you said, that's a very good point. You know, and I can respect that. Honestly, I can respect why because the timing is not stellar. Let's be honest. It's like, you know, he's got this great company, this and that, and he's doing well there. But he probably was like, hey, it's now or never. So I really want to. And it was probably on the table when it came to negotiation time. You know, he was probably promised a title run, right?
When people may not know, but that may have always been his alternative goal. You know what I mean? Like
Maybe.
WWE helped make him. You know what I mean? Obviously, they didn't use him the way that he probably wanted to be in the beginning, but his alternative goal was always to be the world champion.
Well, you know, he never burned that bridge, like you guys were talking about before, right? He kind of always kept it like the door was like slightly open, you know, in both ways. So that was smart. I mean, any smart businessman will do that. But like you said, it depends on the character. It depends if you're a company man, right, Conrad? You know, because let's be honest, CM Punk didn't give a shit because he was like, fuck this. You know, he's not a company guy, so he's like, I don't give a shit if I don't go back to WWE, and I believe him. I really do. I believed him back then, and I believe him now if he says it. Like, you know, it's not for him, and that's cool. But exactly. And Drew McIntyre, a different story. He was like, no, his ultimate goal, 100%, was to get back to WWE. That was his fucking mission statement. It was to get back and be champion and be the best, you know, be the one that everybody was talking about, and he accomplished that, you know. But not everybody has the same goals. You know, some guys will be like, hey, I'm never going to be what they want. I can't possibly see myself as that person, their values and everything else. So they went against their values for whoever they want to be as a worker, as an employee. And I can respect that too. You go somewhere else and flourish, go for it, man. Because we all, as fans, we all believed in that from the get-go, you know?
Yeah, that's why I said it with WWE nowadays. You don't really know until you get there. That's how I feel. You know, there have been certain people that talk about, well, you know, if you're not homegrown made in WWE, you won't make it. But AJ Styles, he's turned out pretty good.
Yeah, it's a great example. But then you have a guy like, you know, that can EC3, you know, like this guy came to NXT, and I was so excited about that. You know, like I really was. Like I'm a big EC3 fan, and you know, and to what we were talking about before, like this guy has the body, man. Like he has the look, like he has the gift of gab. He could talk, he could be a heel, he could be a face, he could do it all. And they fucked it up. And like, to be honest, I know he's doing some pretty cool shit with Ring of Honor. I get it, but like, it took him some time to bounce out of that, you know, and I feel bad for guys like that. You know, it's like they're also giving them a fucking second chance or a first chance to say, hey, I'm putting my career in your hands. So I trust you. I trust you with this stuff. And then they get burned. And it's hard to bounce out of that. You guys know that. Sometimes it's tough, man.
I think that's what makes the WWE the WWE, though. It's intriguing because if you're a wrestler, you kind of have that 50-50 emotion. Okay, well, I can go here, you know, get my name out there too, but how am I going to be used? You know, and it's kind of scary. It's really kind of scary because you don't really know. Like, I'm not going to really know until I go there, but I don't want to go there and then everything
Right.
just turns into shit. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like you wanna play chess, you wanna play checkers. You know what I mean? Like you wanna
Well,
take the
that's
big risk.
why I'm interested 100% Malik, and I'm really interested to see like what Ember Moon is gonna do. You know, like 'cause she's already kind of been vocal about like how she was dicked around, but she didn't do it in like a
Malicious way.
arms crossed fashion, like, oh, poor me. Like she was just kind of like talking about the truth. So like I
Well,
felt like
you could tell it was upsetting to her. It was upsetting
it was upsetting to her, and it wasn't deserving, you know. So like
her dream maybe was to get to WWE 1.2. You know what I'm saying? And when she
Yeah.
got there, it just wasn't what she thought it was going to be.
again, that type of talent, I wouldn't be surprised if she made a return at some point. Again, she's gonna go out there, she's gonna do what she needs to do to get a name for herself. And then maybe at some point she does a return or not, you know, like and that's the other thing too. Like I think sometimes it's bullshit that certain talents do that. I hate to say it, but like I don't maybe bullshit's the wrong term, but like like Sean said, or maybe Kyron, or treating it like it's the minors. Like, okay, I'm gonna go and make a name for myself to get back there. But it's like, but why? Sometimes it's like, but why? Why do you want to do that, man? What do you have to prove? You already proved it to them. They already see what you're doing. They already see that you're a success. They already see that you're running the company. Why do you want to go back? For what?
Sometimes I
Like,
wonder
fool me
if-
once, shame on me, or whatever the expression is.
Sometimes I wonder. I think WWE
I
purposely
messed
does
that up.
that. I think they purposely do that sometimes. Though they'll let people go so they can go somewhere else and be a little bit bigger, knowing that they probably can get them back when they're already bigger themselves and make a little bit more money. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, well,
Exactly.
you know what?
I know.
Well, let's get rid of Drew McIntyre. He's not really doing right now in 3MB, and then Drew McIntyre's like, you know what, man? I wasn't really doing the best I could probably done. Let me go out here and reinvent myself and become bigger. And then now they're like, hey, Drew, you interested in coming back to NXT and coming back to WWE and looking at now he won the world title and then now he's one of their top guys. So
Nah, it reminds me of like a dude or something that's like he's with a chick, and then the chick gains weight or something like that, and then they break up with the girl, but all of a sudden the girl's like all of a sudden getting attention and fucking losing weight and looking hot, and then you give her a call again. That's what this reminds me of sometimes. It's just like it's pathetic. It's pathetic. It's like, you know what, man?
That's exactly what it is. That's exactly
Yeah,
what
it's
One thing I don't
crap.
like is one thing that does annoy me is when WWE doesn't have something for somebody and loses patience because they didn't give them anything and they end up releasing it. Remember, this is a big thing people don't talk about. That almost happened to John Cena. Remember, when he first debuted, they didn't have anything for him, so Cena got lost in the shuffle. And they were about to release him, and then, thankfully, the Dr. Thugonomics gimmick happened. But imagine that timeline where, because you didn't give something to someone, you lost a guy who would eventually be the face of your company. And obviously Cena tries to paint that as his fault. But if you don't give me anything, what can I work with? Think about it. The only reason, he didn't get fired because Stephanie McMahon happened to be on a bus and they were just doing a lot of freestyle rapping. And then Stephanie saw his rapping ability, and that's what they gave him the gimmick. And that gimmick got over. Once again, imagine what happens when you just give someone something to work with. But if I'm just sitting down there and catering the whole time, just like, okay, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? You're not doing anything for me. And you say, oh, Kyle, just go out there and do something. Well, what you're not giving me anything to latch on to. They're not gonna react to me. Oh, well, they didn't react to you, Kyron. Go back to catering. And then 5 months later, oh, Kyron Chase gets released from WWE. But we wish you best in your future endeavors. But you didn't give me anything to work with.
Yeah.
I could have done something for you that you didn't care.
And like most major corporations will treat an employee like that, like they're a number, they're replaceable. Like, you're not bigger than the company is bigger than you, right? So like, they might have that idea creatively or whatever to maybe put that gimmick on the next person in line for whatever reason and be like, oh, that person could do this gimmick. It's our idea. This is our character. So
you could
we
use,
don't need you, you need us, kind of deal.
You could use the Undertaker was the right person for the Undertaker, but say if Mark Calloway decided, you know what, I don't want to be that character, Vince would have been like, all right, well, we're gonna find somebody else because we want to use this character, so we want to find somebody else to do the Undertaker. Same with Kane or whoever. They'll always be the next person up in line. Somebody else will always want that opportunity to step up.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the biggest problems too, though, with wrestling fans today. And I want to kind of urge the younger generation of this: don't compare everything AEW does to WWE.
I saw a lot of people complain about the New Japan show. That show was for people like us. That really wasn't a show for like, oh, we want everyone to buy this. No, this is for the hardcore fans that have always wanted to see some of these matchups, and it's going to be fun. And we'll try to do this once a year, and we'll just work with them. Maybe we'll go to Japan or vice versa. We got this relationship, and they may pop up on TV. But people forget there's other ways of doing things. Like the whole interim champion. Why don't they vacate the belt? Well, obviously, Tony Khan's a big fan of UFC because that's how they do things over there. And I get it. And it holds him accountable when there's an interim champ to say, you know what? You're supposed to have a rematch with me because I was the champ when I went out. You owe this to me because in WWE, you could be forgotten about. Remember when Punk got kicked in the head, punted, never heard from again, never given another world title shot. See you later because they didn't hold themselves accountable. So there's other things you can do. Some people may not get like, why would they do something like Battle Bowl? Why is there a 2-ring battle royal? WWE would never do this. Don't hold people to the same like accountability standards. Let AEW do AEW and let WWE do WWE.
Well, it's hard to like come up with new shit too. Like it's not like people haven't stole stuff from or other ideas from promotion all the time. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, look at their ladder match idea with the brass ring that they grab. I mean,
WWE stole ideas. TNA stole ideas. You know, it happens all the time. You know, people steal ideas all the time. It's just, I think it's more so. You're right, Conrad. It's more so when somebody steals something from WWE because it's the WWE. People won't like to point it out, but it's like WWE stole. It's not like they haven't stolen any ideas either. Like they've done that before too.
Yeah, like the ladder match, the first ever ladder match was not WWE that did it. It was like
Canadian. It was like
it was in Canada.
It was Junkyard Dog.
That's why Bret Hart. That's why Bret Hart brought it up to him because he saw it. He was like, hey, we probably could use this match, here.
But that's it. So it's like, they're not the creator. I mean, I think there's certain staples in wrestling that can be utilized for sure. Obviously, tag team wrestling, triple threats, stuff like that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, ladder matches, table matches. I mean, there's enough there that it's not looked at as copied, right? But then you got to put your own spin on it. Like even when TNA had the 6-sided ring, I was like, well, at least it's different.
Yeah, then Hogan took it away. But
that's why that was the unique thing about the King of the Mountain match. You get to take the title and put it on up there. You get to grab the title.
I like the Casino Royale concept. I think that's interesting.
So you like their battle royal with the
I think it's different. I mean, I don't hate it. I think it's captivating in its own way. What do you think?
It's weird sometimes. Like I like it, but I miss kind of the wow factor, and I feel like they always are chasing that surprise, like ECW used to have. Like, oh, we have to have a surprise. Why? You don't have to. Like, I would have some casino battle royals where the Joker's just someone we know who it is. Like, we've had to be like Hangman Page, but
I think the battle royals are hard just because it's not the same narrative. But the Royal Rumble is just so big, and it's just like it's WWE.
Well, that was genius. That was a genius idea. Let's be honest.
I mean, the Royal Rumble is my favorite pay-per-view of the year. So, like, I can't wait every year to see the Royal Rumble.
That's one of the reasons why I'll never cancel the network is the Royal Rumble, straight up.
Yeah, it's like certain things hold more certain weight, like the Hell in a Cell or the Elimination Chamber, like these are the creations, that they made. So it's hard to kind of do other things. And the Casino Battle Royal is cool, but it's like, I can understand, kind of retrospective.
Chamber, yeah. Hell in a Cell for me.
No,
it doesn't do it anymore. I don't know.
It's watered down.
I'm saying the concept of like this is the creation. Like if you saw if AEW brought out the Hell in a Cell and they renamed it like this is the Battle of Death, you'd be like, okay, that's the fucking Hell in a Cell.
I think that AEW should bring back the blue steel cage. Just do it. Just do it.
Them wrestlers will be complaining real quick.
I like that.
Yeah, but the problem is like
there was something epic about that cage.
Like, the problem is that when WWE created Hell in a Cell, a lot of people probably would say back then in '97, this looked just like War Games, like because a steel cage with a roof on it. Let's be honest,
it didn't have 2 rings.
Yeah, but still, my problem is a lot of people they always pretend AEW only steal from WWE. Like WWE, literally, the attitude there was based off ECW's content. So how can you get on that? And even when Vince doesn't always like using, think about it. They never had War Games on the main roster because Vince knew it was never his. Hell, you know why the Elimination Chamber was actually created? Because Triple H wanted Vince to do War Games, but Vince didn't want to do War Games. So they said, okay, well, we'll combine a cage. We'll do War Games and like Survivor Series elimination together. Hell in a Cell, like it would be like the last truly real revolutionary thing that like match WWE really created was Money in the Bank and Elimination Chamber, and but even then, it wasn't even Vince's idea. Elimination Chamber was Triple H and Eric Bischoff, and Money in the Bank was Chris Jericho. And then you got Hell in a Cell, which, let's be honest, Hell in a Cell isn't really good anymore because you made this on pay-per-view. And that's one thing I really wish they would stop doing. I wish they would stop making Hell in a Cell and Elimination Chamber its own pay-per-view and bring it around when it's needed.
I don't think the Hell in a Cell matches are bad anymore. They just don't have that same concept. You know, back when Hell in a Cell was first around. Well, and that doesn't do it too much. It's more so is that they don't use Hell in a Cell more like when Hell in a Cell was used. That was used to end bad blood feuds. Like, you know, we're fighting inside the Hell in a Cell type thing. You know, like if you use the first one was excluded because it was the first one ever. So first things are first things. But if you use, you know, Triple H and Shawn Michaels, you know, that was a 2-year feud. That was a 2-year whole storyline where the final match was inside the Hell in a Cell. When they said Hell in a Cell, you're like, oh shit, it's gonna be.
Well, it's because we didn't know when they were gonna drop it, right? Like now with the gimmick pay-per-views,
it was also more gruesome back then. So like people bleed. You know? People were doing more extreme stuff inside the Hell in a Cell.
But it hurts now because even the feuds that require Hell in a Cell, you don't feel excited. Like prime example, when Edge and Seth Rollins went in Hell in a Cell, it was shocking just because it wasn't at Hell in a Cell. But yet, think about it. Since the pay-per-view was created, you got matches like Mark Henry versus Randy Orton inside Hell in a Cell, Randy Orton versus James inside Hell in a Cell. Like, these matches don't need Hell in a Cell. Remember when there was a legit blood feud between two people who didn't like each other, and they would say, like, the way they would announce Hell in a Cell and the heel would be afraid? Like, you don't get that anymore because you put random matches inside Hell in a Cell. Like, for example, and it's like this year, granted, I think Cody and Seth, due to the feud, needed Hell in a Cell, and it was a great match. But if we're being honest, Edge and Seth Rollins was one of the only feuds lately that needed it because it was personal with those two. I remember I was at the SmackDown when Seth broke into Edge's house. It became personal then. Like you got things like New Day and Usos, that was fine, and things like Kevin Owens and Shane McMahon, I thought that was fine too. But when you put matches that don't need, like last year, for instance, Bayley and Bianca Belair did not need to be Hell in a Cell match.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. That hurts concepts too. I think that's what hurts the concept of like the Chamber and TLC. You know, they don't have that same aura as they once did. You know what I mean? I can understand Money in the Bank now for pay-per-view. I can understand that now, even though I think if with WrestleMania being 2 nights now, it could still be probably bigger at WrestleMania. But I can understand that. I can understand why Money in the Bank gets its own show because it's a little different. But
and you want to know something crazy? You guys were just mentioning 2 stealing stuff. I wonder where they got that two night event from.
New Japan.
Sounds very interesting, right? And look how good it's going so far.
Hey, it's funny because my mom and my brother, they don't even watch WWE like that no more. And I remember when I first told them WrestleMania is 2 nights, they thought that was the dumbest thing in the world. And my brother still doesn't agree with it. I, on the other hand, love it. I love WrestleMania being 2 nights. And I've always said this.
I was there this year, bro. The atmosphere is nothing like I've ever experienced. When night 1 ended, we couldn't wait to come back to them. Like, bro, we get to come back tomorrow, bro, and see like more than like it was just a feeling overall. Like you got that exciting feeling again as a wrestling fan.
But taking into account, like for example, from 32 to 35, those shows were entirely too damn long. To the point where I was at 33 and I was falling asleep by the main event. I'd rather have 2 nights of about 7 to 8 matches, about 3 to 4 hours, than one long 10-hour show. That's why I've always said I want when they made WrestleMania 2 hours, keep doing it because I think it's a great idea. If you're gonna have these shows, you want to get
35 killed it for me, bro. When I looked at the clock and it said 1 a.m., I was like, bro.
Yeah.
Class the next day.
Make it one night and cut half the people from the show. That'll get them to work even harder. To make it.
You know what? And honestly,
come on, man. Like a lot of them don't even. I don't know, man. Like, come on.
You can't do that. That's a bad idea.
Nah, they won't do that.
Why?
You cut people off, then they're going to be superstars that want to make the show that fans want to see that aren't on the show.
Especially when you got all these celebrity things and you're making more money. Think about it.
No. I get it. I totally understand from a business perspective.
There's people who are on this year's WrestleMania who didn't deserve to be on the show.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, agreed. So, like, you know.
Like, besides the celebrities, like who?
You think Baron Corbin deserved to be at WrestleMania?
Why didn't he?
Why did he?
Tell me why he didn't.
Check this out.
Baron
Corbin should have been on the football show. Matter of fact, he should have been.
Why did he deserve to be on WrestleMania though?
Hold on, I gotta stop both of you.
I deserve to miss WrestleMania.
Hashtag Team Bum Ass Corbin in the chat. Bum Ass Corbin was a legend. I love that gimmick with the stain on the shirt. That was money.
By the way, the show was so forgettable. I barely remember any of it. Let me look it up right now.
What, WrestleMania?
Nah, that was hilarious. Though.
That was a good show.
WrestleMania was an okay show.
I thought it was one of the
WrestleMania this year was the best WrestleMania since WrestleMania 31. By far.
That was a good show, Sean.
I'm looking up the card right. Are you talking about there's nobody that deserved to be cut from that show? Come on.
Go ahead and do it, Sean.
Say what?
I'm gonna say
WrestleMania was great. I loved it.
I
didn't say WrestleMania wasn't great. I said everybody didn't deserve. Rick Boogs, come on, bro.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Omos Lashley.
That's fair.
Thank you. Let's see who else.
I get something for Lashley to do.
That one was solid.
Ridge Holland, come on, bro.
Who did Ridge Holland face?
He was paired with Sheamus.
And that match was almost cut too.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Okay. The Fatal 4-Way, women's title match. Natalia, Baszler, Liv Morgan. Come on, bro. Come on
now. You're not gonna not have Sasha Banks on Wrestle. Sasha Banks.
I didn't say Sasha Banks.
He didn't say that.
But
he's saying he
she
could have
wasn't
done
involved
a
in
different.
anything else that they were gonna do with that time. She's not the title picture.
What you're talking about? People who could have been cut. It couldn't have been straight up Queen Zelina and Carmella versus Sasha and Naomi.
It could have been, but there are other
So what I'm
superstars.
trying to say is, in a show that was 16 matches long, you're telling me that there's nobody that didn't deserve to be on that show?
But then that goes to the point where people are going to be upset. Like I said, those people had fans too. That
You
they
had
wanted to be on the show.
two borderline celebrity matches.
You may
had
not have wanted to
Knoxville,
see them on the show, but
and you had Pat McAfee.
I'm not alone in what I'm saying.
You know, you don't need two of those matches.
You don't get Logan
you
Paul.
may not need two of those matches, but it's all.
Thank you.
about
3 of
I'm
them.
not
Sorry.
trying to lump Mountie into what I'm saying to make my point. If Mountie agrees. I think he does. But I'm standing on my own on this one, regardless. At the end of the day, WrestleMania was 16 matches long. That show could have been 11 matches long and on one night.
Nope. Because if
you could have moved.
Why do you say that?
Because it would have been too long. 11 matches on one card.
It's still a long show, Sean. Think about it.
It's been that way for WrestleMania. Oh my God! Why are we all of a sudden now WrestleMania is too long now? Yes, WrestleMania been long for a long time. It's supposed to be one night, not 2 nights.
No, it was never.
WrestleMania. You go to a WrestleMania. Listen.
The WrestleMania 2-night concept is built to get more people on the show.
Yeah, but it's better.
And it's the same. It's the same duration. It's just split into two nights.
To have more. What I'm saying right now is making my point exactly. My point is WrestleMania could be one night and still be the Super Bowl of wrestling on one night. Mm-hmm. They've made it into 2 nights to put more people onto the show. They are catering to people who don't deserve to be on the show to make room for them to be on the show.
Okay, but Sean,
that's not a bad thing.
That's true, but Sean,
I didn't say it was a bad thing. I said they could cut the matches down. That's all I said.
Okay, they could, but they're not.
If you cut the matches down, that's not fair to the other superstars who put in.
How is it not fair? So now we're being fair now. So everybody gets a courtesy pass to be on WrestleMania.
Sean's right.
If it's not fair, then they're not using superstars they probably could be using.
Hold on.
Nah, he's got a point.
So now
definitely
we're
got a
talking
point.
about the biggest show in the history of professional wrestling, and we want to be fair. So we're going to make the show 2 nights instead of 1 to have people who don't deserve to be on the damn show be on the show because we want to cater to our talent.
See, here's the thing, Sean. I don't agree with Malik on the whole fair thing. The thing is this. If you're going to do that, think about it. 32, 33, 34, 35.
He's right. They don't give a shit about him the other 364 days. Why the fuck should they care about him on the other one?
I agree too.
Because they're catering to the fans. It's 2 nights, so they're gonna put superstars on the show that
other
people may want to see on the show.
They're not catering to the fans. That's not catering to the fans.
How is it not?
They are making the. Let me tell you something, bro.
You had the Battle Royal.
And we can leave.
Nobody cares about the Battle Royal.
Okay, we can leave it here
They
because
could.
agree.
No, they couldn't.
The bottom line is
On the pre-show. Who watched the
WrestleMania
pre-show?
was made 2 nights to make room for more people. So when you say, then you're contradicting yourself. If you're saying WrestleMania, if you're agreeing with me that WrestleMania was made bigger to 2 nights to cater to more people being on the show, then my original point of the show can be cut down to 1 night is valid.
Okay, well, Sean,
it caters to people doing more show, and it lessens the time. Nobody, I don't want to sit through a 5-6 hour WrestleMania.
Somebody tell me what I'm saying.
I don't want to sit there for 2 nights in a row.
I don't want to sit there.
It's 2 nights.
I got shit to do on my Saturday nights and Sunday nights.
Tell me what I said that's factually incorrect.
No, Sean, I agree with you. My point isn't about getting more people on the show. I understand that if that doesn't agree over last. Remember, like I said, from 32 to 35, the shows, everyone agrees, those shows were entirely too long. So I'd rather just cut that in half. Literally.
You're not, Kyron, respectfully, you're not cutting anything down, my brother. If you're extending, this is your logic. Bro. Listen to me. Focus, my brother, because you're a smart guy. Your logic is that it makes more sense to have an event cover an entire weekend than to have one long show on one day.
Yeah.
That doesn't make any sense.
Hey,
Am I the only one?
No, I said the same thing.
You can watch a 2-hour WrestleMania on one. You can watch, say, 2 or 3 hour WrestleMania, a 3-hour WrestleMania on night 1 and 2 instead of watching a whole 6-hour event just on one night. I don't want to do that.
I'd rather watch.
Time out, real quick. Shout out to the chat.
Here, that doesn't make any sense.
First shout out to the chat because mad people are starting to get hype in there now because of this. But I think Sean is saying Sean, what WrestleMania had the most matches on it? Do you remember? Is it 4?
I have no idea.
It might be 4. They've had the same amount of matches of like 16 matches before WrestleMania. Just because you don't want, just because you're lower on the card and you don't want to have that 3 to 5 minute match, be glad you're on the card and you're getting paid, because that's what Greg the Hammer Valentine had to do. Brutus Beefcake.
I'm gonna calm down. Here's the thing, because I am legitimately hyped right now. At the end of the day, WrestleMania has become a watered down 2-night fiasco. Okay,
watered down. Heavy on the watered down.
You want to, huh?
And the water
heavy
down.
on the water down. Heavy on the water down.
Thank you very much. So at the end of the day, you're going to sit up, like I said, let's just look at this from an elementary standpoint. You'd rather have a 2-night event with 7, well, it turned out it's 16 matches. I think there was 7 one night, 9 the next night, whatever. You'd rather have, just to make it even, a 2-night, 8 times 2, which equals 16 match event, instead of having a 10-match event that lasts 5 hours?
Well, considering the fact that I was tired of falling asleep on WrestleMania, yes.
That's your problem, my brother, respectfully, because at the end of the day, Kyron, and I guess Malik feels the same way, at the end of the day, WrestleMania is not made to be a charity situation. If you're not good enough to be on the show, you shouldn't be on the damn show.
Agreed.
So at the end of the day, if they cut it down to the people who are supposed to be on the show, you wouldn't have. Let me be clear. WrestleMania 35 was a ridiculous crap show. I'm not saying it wasn't. There were too many people on that damn show too.
Yes. So if they're going to do that.
But the logic of changing the format, you're saying WrestleMania is too long on Sunday night. So instead, we make instead of a 1-night, 5.5-hour show, we have a 2-night times 2 4-hour show.
But the last 2 shows been 4.5 hours.
Let's hit him with some facts. Can I jump in here? Let's hit him with some facts.
I feel like I'm not making sense, but I know.
No. You're making absolute sense. I'm gonna throw some facts at you guys, and I want you to remember this. Since probably one of the earliest WrestleManias, let's say up to number 7, the longest WrestleMania from that point on was WrestleMania 20, which ran about 5 hours long, and it was a fucking fantastic WrestleMania, and you watched it to the end.
Yeah, I love that show.
So I don't see a problem with making it 5 hours. Maybe you go a little bit longer. I was invested then, and I would still be invested now.
I love
doing it now, spreading it to 2 nights, and each one is like.
We have Bianca and Becky on night 1. We have Austin and Owens on night 2. And that's not a Super Bowl. It's a freaking NBA Finals. It's not a Super Bowl anymore.
Yeah, it's a Mardi Gras now. It's going to be a Mardi Gras. Pretty soon it'll be a week long.
Fine. Here's what we're going to do. I want you to tell me what you would have done to make WrestleMania one night this year. All right, so how would you have done the card?
You got to move the talent around. You remove some talent and you introduce some sort of matches that include a certain amount of talent that you want to keep on the card.
I'm going to answer that question by saying this. At WrestleMania 29, the Funkadactyls were scheduled to face somebody, whatever.
It was supposed to be Brodus Clay, Tenzai, and the Funkadactyls versus the Bellas and Rhodes Scholars.
And at the end of the day, they came to a realization that we can cut this down because, number one, nobody cares. Number two, we just put them on the show to be nice to begin with, and we're under time constraints. WrestleMania, I'm not saying should be a 7-hour show. What I'm trying to say is, if you have, I'll be honest, I don't have a problem, as Monty was saying, with it being a 5-hour show. That doesn't bother me at all for what's supposed to be the biggest night in professional wrestling. But at the end of the day, when you look at a card like the WrestleMania 38 card or the WrestleMania 37 card, that card could have easily been broken down to a point where you have 11 matches. And like Conrad was also saying earlier, to help add to my point, every match don't have to be 20 minutes.
And I'm gonna hold on though, but I can add something to Malik and Kyron's point too, though.
That's fine.
They sell stuff based on their stats, right, Sean? When you're going in to sell something to someone, you say, "Look at my stats." Did you see all those stats this year? We have more watch time on social media than the Super Bowl. Blah blah blah. Do you know why? It's an inflated number. We know that because it's 2 nights. But the wrestling fans don't know. People who aren't wrestling fans don't know that. So they're going in there showing this BS. That's why they like it. They're going to keep doing this. This works for them.
I hear you. What professional wrestling has become is a circus. This brings us back to the very beginning of this conversation. WWE has become this watered down, over the top crap show. I'm gonna give Kyron credit about the point he made earlier. WrestleMania is not for the hardcore fans. Hardcore fans are not interested in Logan Paul. Hardcore fans, even though Bad Bunny very much impressed me, are not interested in Bad Bunny, and we're certainly not interested in Jackass. We're interested in professional wrestling on its highest level, on what's supposed to be its biggest night. What happened at WrestleMania 36 was that when the pandemic hit, they were trying to flail for straws to figure out what they can do. And they turned it into a 2-night event. And they backdoored themselves into a 2-night rating that wasn't half bad. So you know what they said?
Well, that worked. Why not do it again?
Why not do it again? And all of a sudden, what's supposed to be the biggest night in professional wrestling turns into a weekend of fluff and unnecessary crap.
Not to mention, they monopolized the market because they were the only fucking sporting event that was actually happening at that point.
That's also
so why wouldn't they put it for 2 nights? They had no other competition.
And they split their hardcore fans because you're going to want to go to both shows. And that eliminates Ring of Honor. Remember where they used to piggyback off of them? Oh, there's a Ring of Honor event on Saturday. Not anymore.
And you, Malika, and you, somebody who I consider to be a straight shooter, I'm surprised that you, when it comes to this, because you know the manipulation that goes into pro wrestling. Like what Conrad just said, this is nothing but making people buy 2 tickets.
Of course, it's a smart.
It's a money grab. This is what have we become? Now we're more focused on. Come on, this is stupid.
They got us by the balls, man.
I'm
gonna let you talk. I swear, I'm gonna let you talk because I want to be respectful. But
they're gonna take more of our time that they already are. They're already taking fucking 5, 6, 7 hours per week, and now they're gonna take 2 nights as well. Like, come on, man.
I'm tired of the last 3 years of watching Raw and SmackDown in the weeks leading up to WrestleMania and hearing, oh, you know what? WrestleMania weekend, we're gonna get Bianca. I don't even know what freaking day the show's gonna have. Which wrestler's gonna wrestle on which day? It's ridiculous. It's so over the top and unnecessary.
Now,
for me,
that I agree with, Sean. That I agree with, Sean. I feel like the fact that you have to buy 2 tickets, that I have a problem with. I feel like they should do What they do, like my brother's basketball tournament, like if he has a weekend tournament, you buy one ticket and you get like a wristband. So you can come back the next night without having to buy a second ticket because that does drain your pocket. See, I have, since they've gone to 2 nights, I admit, I'm one of the advocates who's fine with it. Because and I do admit, it is kind of personal because I don't like the fact that WrestleMania is 32 to 35. I was damn near falling asleep toward the main event.
I respect your opinion.
I understand
here's
that.
the thing, and I agree, just shorten the cards, but it's clear they're not going to do that. So if they're not going to shorten the cards, we have 2 options. You can either do 2 nights, or you can have a long ass show, and I'll take the 2 nights.
What I'm saying to you, my brother, is that when does it end? You're what you just said is 100% facts, bro. But when does it end? You know what? Everybody, we want to make sure everybody gets on the show. You know what we're gonna do next time? Now it's gonna be 3 nights.
Welcome to WrestleMania SmackDown.
Welcome to WrestleMania week.
I'm gonna say something real quick. Now, I'm gonna be straight up and say this, Sean. I 100,000% agree with you. Now, and I'm going to explain why. The 2 WrestleManias, 33 and 35, the 2 WrestleManias that I went to. 33 was long, but it was bearable. Now, 35, I didn't go back into my hotel until 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, I don't mind per se that happening if it was 33. But when it gets to the point now where I'm literally watching the sun rise and WrestleMania is over, that's where it gets too much. I feel like you should literally, WrestleMania ideally for me should be no more than 4 hours. No more than 4 hours of, because for one, fans will still be in tuned enough to stay up. And it will be still more exciting because now you're like, okay, these matches are set.
Right.
These people are here because these people are here. Now, don't get me wrong. There are a lot of good people in the main roster and in just the roster in general. And all of that in terms of placement, in terms of WrestleMania matches, most of it really it's not in their control. So I can't hate them too much or can't say it's their fault. But realistically, no person is going to be sitting there for 6-7 hours for one event. And the 2-night one is cool, but like what you said, Conrad, I think it was you that said that you're taking away events for places like Ring of Honor or places like NWA, and just you're kind of being really ignorant in the sense that you already know you're the biggest promotion. Why do you need 2 nights? You're already going to be. You've been fine with 1 night for about what? 36 Manias?
35 years.
35 years of it. You don't need to have 2 nights. What you need to do is you need to find a way to allow a solid 9 to maybe 11 matches that will fit into those 4 hours that will not only make the crowd still engaged, but won't put the crowd to sleep, because I can promise you 35 was the hardest Mania I've ever stayed up.
And I appreciate your perspective on this because you're playing both sides in a very respectful way. I feel you. And I want to be clear to Malik and Kyron. I certainly understand and respect where you guys are coming from. I'm just trying to say, I guess if you really break it down to the brass tacks, everybody ain't supposed to be on WrestleMania anyway. And if we take that mentality of everybody being on the show away, we can have, back to Rambo's point, a 1-night card of 4.5 or 4 hours that is engaging and is not going to keep us outside till 1 o'clock in the morning.
Or 3.
3.
I went to WrestleMania 33. Mind you, like I remember the main event didn't start till like 12. So I'm already dozing off in the seat. And we stayed at my mom's friend who lived down in Florida at the time. We didn't get back due to traffic and everything. We didn't get back to her house until close to 2 in the morning.
Now, I hear what you're saying. I'm saying it is over the top. I'm not saying that I agree with a 8-hour card. No. But then again, I don't know if you guys are also including the 2-hour kickoff thing too.
I am.
Okay. Well, all right. Okay. But at the end of the day, I don't really count that. But that's neither here nor there. The bottom line is everybody should be heading home by 11:30. I have no problem with that. But that means you're gonna have to cut the card down. This ain't no damn charity case. If Kevin Owens and the Mysterios don't make the cut on Money in the Bank, then somebody ain't making the cut on WrestleMania, and they're gonna have to deal with it.
Yep.
Ezekiel doesn't have to be on WrestleMania unless he earns it.
Yeah.
And then the ones that, you know, earn it to a smaller degree, well, you're gonna get the squash match this year. Sorry.
Yeah, we'll be in the Battle Royal.
It's always been that way. Like, it's always been that way. Like, you know, 5 hours for me is top. Like, I love it. It's great. It was a perfect storm in my opinion. And like, you know, to your guys' point, if we don't give a shit about this guy and we forget that they're not even on the card, let's say on Money in the Bank, why should we care about them on the big night? I don't understand, you know? And look, I'm not saying that they don't deserve it. I'm just saying maybe you don't deserve it this year. Maybe next year you're going to deserve it though. But that's how it should kind of be, you know? And but Malik, also, let's be honest. You know, you put it on 2 nights. Who gives a shit? You know, everybody wants to fucking close down the show on Sunday anyway.
It brings down its luster.
Yes, you know, who wants to be on the Saturday card if WrestleMania Sunday has always been its baby?
It adds to the business tactic.
Does that really make you feel good?
Think about it like this, man.
You're on the B show of WrestleMania.
All 6 of us know it.
But Vince is never pitching it like that to people. He told Sasha Bianca, "You are going to main event WrestleMania."
Vince says a bunch of shit that we can or can't agree or choose to believe. I don't believe that.
I love Bianca and love Sasha and respect both. They were not the main event of WrestleMania 37.
We know that, but I guarantee that's what he was telling them. Like, I need you two to get this over for me. Blah 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 blah. You know the stories. He's a promoter, man.
Yeah, but of course, why wouldn't he? He wants people to fucking to show up on Saturday, so of course you're gonna like maximize the hell out of, like, you know, you can't miss this. But like, I'm no fool.
How dare you? Because we all know what we think WrestleMania 39 is gonna be. How dare you sit up here and have me with a ticket that says WrestleMania on it, and I don't have the ticket that is gonna allow me to see Rock and Roman Reigns? But I have the ticket that says WrestleMania on it.
But like Conrad said, you think the town thing, think about it. Kevin Owens, at the end of the day, you can say, I main evented night 1 of WrestleMania with Stone Cold Steve Austin. I think that means a lot to Kevin Owens.
Yeah, but this night 1 crap, when did that start meaning anything? So, like, when did that become
I mean nothing now because it's still kind of new. It's only been, what, 3 years since they've done 2 nights of WrestleMania. So
who was the main event of night 1 of WrestleMania when it first started? The 36.
Sasha.
It was one of those.
If you're counting the pandemic, then it was the Boneyard.
Okay, so I guess it was the Yeah, I guess they did that because out of necessity. But
if you mean in front of the fans, then it was Sasha and Bianca.
Night 1 main event's been hitting. I can't front.
All 3 nights were better.
And another thing, I'll pay.
You're family man, comrade.
I'll pay $500 for it that has the one night compared to paying.
Sean, you know, Conrad, you're a family man. They don't
get you that way,
right?
though. See how they get you with the WrestleMania. This is what I did.
Conrad, you have a wife, kids. Can I just ask Conrad something? What does everybody else think about this? What does everybody else in your family think? If they don't even watch wrestling, don't they think it's a little fucking stupid that, like, you know? Come on, man.
No. I think
how much time do you put into wrestling, bro? 3 hour. You do a 3-hour review for Raw every week. You got fucking AEW. You got fucking NXT that you do. You got SmackDown for 2 hours, and then you're gonna fucking turn around and tell your wife, "Oh, by the way, I gotta watch NXT on Friday night or Saturday or whatever the hell it is," and then you have a 2-night WrestleMania, and then you also gotta watch Raw after Mania. You gotta cover that.
I don't cover those shows, for the record. I stopped a long time ago with WWE.
Motherfucker, I'm surprised you're still married. That's all I'm going to say. I have to space my shit out, man. You know, Vince McMahon's trying to get me divorced, and I'm not having it. Fuck it.
What, man? The last 3 years, my girlfriend wanted to punch me in the face.
Oh, bro. No.
In the mouth every of the last 3 years.
That's
2 nights.
Every time I tell her that there's another wrestling event, my dick gets a little bit smaller when I tell her. I'm like, you okay with this? You good? Yeah, we're still together, right?
That's because you guys don't plan it out right. I make it a family party. Yeah,
you make it a family party.
Pizza. Everybody's eating pizza.
I don't give a shit what I feed her. She doesn't give a crap about fucking Sheamus, all right? She don't give a shit about Sheamus.
You don't have that that buffalo food. That's the problem. See, if you had some buffalo pizza.
So now it's a Canadian. Now you're making it about Canada.
No,
I see how
the
it
real
is.
problem is he don't got the mac and cheese. That's what the real problem.
It's the mac and cheese.
He got the mac and cheese.
Tell you what, I'll have you all over for thanks. You know what? WrestleMania should be on Thanksgiving, a 2-day affair. You know what? Let's why stop there? Let's make Thanksgiving 2 days too. Right? Let's switch everything.
I was so damn confused this year. NXT was on at 3:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, what the hell is going on?
No.
That was not it.
I was not watching that.
You want to know how confused I was? Can I just stop you right there? I want to talk about confused. Malik reaches out to me the other day. He says, "Hey, you want to do a recap of Money in the Bank?" I said, "You know what? I got 2 softball games. I'm gonna miss half the show." Next thing you know, I come home from I was at home on Saturday night. I'm checking. I'm like, what the fuck? You guys are doing a recap Saturday night? I'm like, oh shit, Money in the Bank Saturday now? I'm like, oh my god. I thought it was on Sunday. That's how out of it. Like I was like, oh my god, I could have done it. And I still didn't have time to watch it, even if it was on Saturday.
I actually like that you've been on Saturday because
I understand. That's good. I like that.
And I'm not in school anymore, but if I was in school, I used to be up late watching pay-per-view that had to be at school. So I actually don't mind the pay-per-view being on Saturday night now.
It definitely, I would say though, if you're a kid in school, it benefits because like there were times.
Totally.
When you went
in my opinion, every
I couldn't watch WrestleMania unless I was on spring break the next week. Like if I wasn't on spring break, I couldn't watch it because WrestleMania is like you got school next day. It's like no, you got school next day, so you can't watch WrestleMania.
Pay her money. I was going to stay and watch. My mom paid to order these shows. You stand and watching it.
No,
I wouldn't have to ask. Like
every pay-per-view Saturday.
When I begged my mom,
Sunday.
So when they announced like the Rock versus Cena match, I was like, Mom, listen. I told her a year ahead. I was like, listen, WrestleMania next year, like, I can't miss this. She was like, well, it all depends on if you got school the next day. The first day of school, I said, hey, when do we have spring break? Like when spring break? They was like, oh, it's April 2nd. I was like, Mom, we're good. April 2nd, I won't be at school. I'm home. I need that WrestleMania.
So my grandmother years old. My grandmother's 98 years old. I was like, yeah, WrestleMania is this weekend. She's like, which day? I'm like, both. She's like, that's stupid.
My mom and my brother think the same thing.
But that's stupid.
I will say though, I think it's going to turn out to be a really good thing because I was there both nights. Both nights were sold out, and the energy was the same both nights for every night. I mean, it was like it was all the same.
Look,
the night one had a lot of energy. Night 2 had a lot of energy. It was, and I was sitting next to people. You meet people. You go to wrestling shows. You talk to people, and they're like, "Man, I can't wait to come back tomorrow." Like we only saw half this, and so that's the feeling for a lot of people have.
Look, man, I'm not saying that there's not pros behind it. There's definitely pros behind it. Yeah, look, from a marketing standpoint, why wouldn't you do it? I get it.
And how they get you, that's how they get you to. I don't
understand.
But I didn't buy 2 tickets.
I'm just saying it sucks a bit.
I didn't buy 2 tickets to WrestleMania. What they get you is that you buy a WrestleMania package deal where you can get everything at once. So if you buy a WrestleMania package, you get both tickets for WrestleMania, you get Hall of Fame tickets, you get access tickets, you get
so they inflate the price and put it in one pretty little number for you to think you're getting something, but really you're still paying more than you would if it was one night. That's what you're saying.
If you get the WrestleMania package, like you get 2 night and they give you. I don't know if you saw the seats in, but like.
Oh, you're still paying more, Malik. It doesn't matter. You're still paying more.
No, it depends. The WrestleMania package deal depends on who you go with. The more people you go with, the cheaper it's going to be. So you pitch.
Well, I'd like to know what that price was when it was one night versus when it was 2 nights. Are you telling me it was the same price?
I mean, it may not be the same price, but it also depends.
Definitely not the same price. They gotta cover their overhead in the arena for 2
money.
nights.
It's a money.
Guaranteed, it's more.
Like if
I'm not saying you're multiplying it by 2. It's probably
I'm just saying that's how they're gonna get people in the future with the WrestleMania package.
Yeah, totally.
Like, why would you buy 2 tickets when you can get the WrestleMania package and you can get all the tickets and you can get everything else with that? You get when
you're still paying 1.5 for 2 nights, bro. That's my point. Instead of paying for 2 pay-per-views, you're not paying for 1. You're gonna pay 1.5, but you're gonna have access to 2 of them. You're still forced to spend more. That's Sean and I's point. That sucks.
Like if all 6 of us went to WrestleMania together, we all get a package. Let's say it's like $700 each, pitching like $100-something each.
But either way, it would still be less, though, bro.
For 2 nights, the whole package of access.
Whatever number you come up with, which I respect where you're coming from. Whatever number you come up with for this 2-night WrestleMania garbage, if it was 1 night, it would be less.
Agreed.
Okay, fair enough. But
that's what we're trying to say. It's like, you know, we can sit
I'm
here.
not saying
We
it
can
would be.
no,
I'm
but we
not saying
can
it
sit
would-
here
it
and
would
be like, hey, yada yada, it's good. 2 nights, yeah, the energy, blah blah blah. Well, I hope so. I fucking hope so, or else that's a horrible way to spend money. Number one. But number two, it's like, you know, at the end of the day, they're still gouging you and they're still asking for more from you when this is their fucking idea. And that kind of sucks. You know, I've been a lifetime fan. I put money into their product. I'm still watching this and that, and you keep asking for more. And it's like you're asking for more money and more time from me. And for me, I'm like, dude, like, I don't know, like maybe you guys will get it a little bit. Like in 10 years, man, when your life is different, let me tell you, man, it changes shit. And you know,
I
it's
mean,
gonna.
I understand where
What
you're
are
coming
you
from,
what are you
but,
gonna
like,
tell Malik? I have a question for you. You have a girlfriend. Let's say she doesn't like wrestling, and it's her mom's birthday that night on Saturday. What are you gonna say? I have to stay home and watch fucking WrestleMania day one? Come on, man.
Especially, and let me add on to that. Especially when she
They
knows
have
what's going on the
dinners and
next
shit
night.
Saturday
Because
night.
in your girlfriend's mind, or your fiance's mind, or your wife's mind, she doesn't think that WrestleMania night 1 and night 2 are two different
that
things.
important. Yeah, she didn't think it's that
She's
important.
like, you can watch it tomorrow night.
Yep.
Well, how does it work? Well, since you guys are you have, you know, you're married now, John, you have a girlfriend. How does it work for you guys? Like,
Well, I have my fiance thinks it's stupid, and my fiance thinks it's ridiculous to have what's supposed to be a 1 night thing, 2 nights, and it's also I have a kid. And unfortunately for me, my kid does not like wrestling.
oh, word?
No, he's not a fan.
How old is he?
Say it again.
How old is he?
What's your son?
7.
Oof.
Well, that's where we go talk about the casual fans. WWE,
You're running out of time, Sean.
they're worried about that. They're worried about the casual
Thank
fans.
God now. I was a little worried for a while, but he likes sports. He just
Okay.
Because the casual,
You have
the
till like
casual
10.
fans,
When he's 10, if he doesn't like wrestling, you're in trouble, man, because he might not like it for life, for full life.
No, I'll tell you this. When I was my uncle tried to get me into wrestling when I was really young, like 5, 6. And I couldn't get into. I didn't start getting into it. I was about 8 years old, 8, 9 years old. So
See?
it took me a while. Like when he first tried to get me into it, I hated it. I was like, I don't want to watch this crap. But then like I kind of found it on my own. That kind of took me a while to find it. And once I found it, it was all your son needs. If he just finds that one thing that gravitates him, he'll be hooked. Well, we all know that.
No, but so
y'all know.
I've been watching wrestling since I was like 2 years old.
to answer Kyron's
Listen, for you,
question,
for me to you, I hope that your son can get into it. That's a father and son bond. right there.
I hope so too, man.
I have sat that little big head in front of that television and forced him to watch, and he looks at me like, "This is stupid."
Yeah, but did you handcuff him to the couch like wrestling style?
I
or
should
something?
have. I should have.
You should have. Like, make it a gimmick. Be like, no, you're staying right here. Get
You
out
know,
the
honestly,
get out
you
the
know- you
kendo
know-
stick.
you know what-
Get
you
out
know
the
what
kendo
helped,
stick
though,
and be
is
like,
that-
what?
What helped me, I think, too, is that like I don't know. For me, when I don't know how your people watch wrestling for different reasons, but when I started watching, I was intrigued with the characters. Like when I saw people like The Undertaker and Eddie Guerrero, like I wasn't really focused on the matches. I was more intrigued about these people. Like how does the Undertaker get in the ring? Like he pops in the ring. How does that happen? I'm a kid. Like he's not. He was there and now he's not. He was 2 seconds ago. He wasn't there. Now he's there. How did that happen? You know what I mean? Like how did that come together?
Well, here's the thing about kids, bro. Here's the thing about kids. When they're super young, he's still young. But when he's super young, talking about 1, 2, 3, I can sit him on my lap and he'll be watching because there's nothing else to do. As long as he has food or his little GI Joe, he's cool. When he's 7, there's other things that he enjoys and he wants to walk away.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it's
Like,
like,
if you're into it or not. If you're into it, you're into it. I mean, at that age, he's probably not gonna be into it because, like I said, I was around that age when I started to get into
No,
it.
but it makes things complicated for Sean. Is our point? You know, like to monopolize 2 nights of his son's life for something he's not interested in. Well, that's a little tough.
It's like, whoa, like now I got 2 nights where I got.
Well, I mean, like I said, I understand his concept, but WWE, they don't give a fuck about that. They're not worried about what he.
And that's why, and WWE has never.
But
been
I thought it's a family show.
It is a family show for the casual.
Well, why are you
fans.
breaking up my family?
They don't care about our children or our marriages. They're very
they don't.
selfish that way.
No, they,
I mean, they know
want,
that
they want me to be a single virgin and watch the
WrestleMania is 2
programming.
nights, whether you go back and watch it, however you watch it, but they know no matter what, people are going to watch it. The people are going to be there. They're going to watch it. If you don't watch it live, you're going to go back and watch it.
Point, Malik, because that's what you just said is the point of the night. Because the bottom line is, as much as I complain,
Same here.
I'm still going to watch.
Yeah.
Like I said,
To answer Kyron's question though, you know, my wife is actually pretty chill with wrestling. I'm lucky, you know. she'll like kind of sit next to me and she's on her phone and she kind of like tunes into like certain characters, certain women that she likes or certain guys that she likes or whatever that I like or whatever.
You got a
You
woman
know,
that understands though. Not a lot
yeah,
of.
so like, I think the point of the matter is like, it's once a year, can you suck it up for 2 nights? And look, I'm not forcing her to stay on the couch. She's a grown woman. She can leave, she could do whatever the hell she wants, but I'm gonna do this, right? So, it kind of falls under that sports category where it's like, the Stanley Cup or something or NBA Finals where there's two back-to-back games. It is what it is. So like to Malik's point, they're gonna keep doing it, and that's okay. I'm just saying from a casual, longtime lover of wrestling, for me, I hate the fact that I have to like change up all my shit when I thought I had it down path for 36 years, and I was like, all right, this is my one night, and now I'm like asking for more, and I'm just like, ugh.
Now you're gonna have to tell you need the whole week. Listen, this weekend, don't talk to me. This whole weekend, I just need 7 days, 7 free days. That's all I need. 7 days.
Well, you got. I'm not gonna do any shameless plugs. I'll just say you got networks that have like their stuff on Wednesday and then Thursday and then NXT's on Saturday morning.
I'm tired hearing
they're gonna start having shows. I'm telling you, Impact's gonna start having a 9:00 show on WrestleMania weekend. It's gonna be 9 a.m. and you're gonna be watching wrestling on WrestleMania weekend.
Hey, I would never get up early for that.
Listen, I gotta go, boys. This was an absolute blast.
Loved it.
I hope we do a part 2, because I feel like there was a bunch of topics we didn't even cover, man. We didn't cover the MJF pipe bomb. We didn't cover the Vince McMahon scandal. We didn't cover Triple H. We didn't cover Sasha Banks. Like, there's all kinds of shit, man. So I really want to do a part 2 of this. This was a lot of fun, but I gotta go to bed.
Well, we can plan out part 2. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed the rants and the casual conversations between everybody here. Always respect, agree to disagree on certain things. Passionate about
it's all love, baby. It's all love.
So it makes us passionate, about fans, and we all have our personal opinions. But even though
we're all smart,
having this
like
discussion,
Sean said.
we're having this discussion. At the end of the day, WWE, they don't care.
All brothers, all love, man.
John Moxley said it too. Wrestling fans are smart. That was the smartest thing he ever said.
Yep. Because at the end of the day, we can talk about it, but is it really going to change anything? No.
You're right about that, brother. You are right about that. They don't give a crap about what we want.
This is just a place where you can come and just express your thoughts, your feelings.
This is exactly what they want us to do, and we're doing it.
Wrestling fans, we're a
cog in a machine. You took the words right out of my mouth, Rambo.
Let me encourage you guys, everybody, the millions of fans watching Malik's channel. WWE is the #1 organization in pro wrestling in the world, but they don't give a crap what you want. The quicker you realize that, the better off you'll be.
At least you won't be disappointed. You may still watch, but your disappointment levels won't be.
Accepting it is the first step.
It's accepting the fact that you know what's going to happen. Like
there should be a 12-step program to be a fucking wrestling fan.
Step
1: admit you're powerless.
Not a wrestling fan, a WWE fan.
Over wrestling, True.
The more you accept it, the more you know what's going to happen. Like that's why when things happen and they're bad, they don't disappoint me because I'm like, okay, I kind of embrace myself for anything at this point.
Of course, man. Of course. Look, it's a hobby. It's a passion. All of us are passionate. We all have great ideas. I really enjoy sharing the portal or whatever.
There's gonna be people watching this. They're like 6 grown men are gonna be wrestling with that. Look terrible.
Six. You can't get better than 6 grown ass men talking about wrestling for almost 3 hours.
Yeah, we're pretty fucked up.
It was fun.
Something's wrong with us. So, all right, fellas.
Something's definitely wrong.